Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
I'm a fan of classic movies.
Hello and welcome to Ticket Stubs. We talk movies in all their forms, double features, audio commentaries, and everything in between. We take cinema seriously, even if we don't take ourselves too seriously. We're your co-hosts, Kyle and Levi Huffman. I'm Kyle.
I'm Levi.
And new name and logo, Who Dis?
I do kind of take myself seriously, though. I just want to say.
Well, I do with myself
no.
also.
You've already said no. I'm just kidding.
And I take you seriously. Yeah. More so like the conversations we have on this podcast. Sometimes we're gonna talk about a deleted scene for the Smashing Machine and some things we think are funny about it. So let that stand on its own. This is some serious stuff. No. I think it's time to have a rebrand in its own way. It's the same. We're going to do the same exact podcast, same exact format. We're just giving ourselves a little bit of a new name.
Now, let me ask,
yes.
What do you think of rebranding in general, like Meta and the whole thing? Well, that's honestly, what's weird about Meta is it's like they're not calling Facebook Meta. It's that Meta owns all the things that are under Facebook.
Right.
Like the umbrella name for
because Facebook
company.
is now an arm of Meta. It's like evolved into this larger corporation.
Or, of course, you had Sonic. I think I've told you this before, but around the time that they're, speaking of machines, the album Washing Machine came out.
I promise you we're going to talk about movies at some point.
Yeah, Sonic Youth was thinking about changing their name to Washing Machine. And then they just decided to just name the album that instead. Don't you think that's pretty stupid? Because how could you waste a name
Sonic
as great
Youth's
as
such
Sonic
a great
Youth?
name. Why would you
like
change
Washing
it to
Machine?
Washing
I mean, they didn't do it, so it's whatever. But
I've never heard this.
Then you
What,
had
what
Jefferson.
era was that? Like
It was
when
95.
Okay,
so it was like mid-90s, yeah.
Okay.
But, not the movie.
This reminds me of a few years ago. KFC was like, it's KFC, but it doesn't necessarily stand for Kentucky Fried Chicken. Which I think they've actually since kind of went back on because they've since had things that, and in general, haven't you noticed like you've seen a lot of specifically like fast food brands like literally just say we're going to go back to our old logos, probably out of nostalgia. It's like Burger King's done that, Pizza Hut's done that.
McDonald's kind of can't because it's literally what it's been.
Yeah, it's been fairly close, but and then I think KFC's kind of like harkened back to that a little bit. But it's just like, but I just love, no. It's like, no, it's like, it's definitely the same food, but we're not calling ourselves Kentucky Fried Chicken anymore. Yeah. It's so dumb.
I don't know. That just seems really stupid. I mean, there's a lot of things that are stupid nowadays. I think we literally live in the dumbest time. Like, I don't know. Like, the only time that would have been dumber is like, caveman times, if such, you know.
Well, it's like, I think it's that classic to, quote the opening line of A Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Like, we live now with more information available at our fingertips than any other time in human history. And yet, go out and have a conversation with an average person. Yeah. That information is not being well spent,
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say to clarify. Like, it used to be, like, I like to walk around and say to the kids, you now at this moment are smarter than the smartest people hundreds of years ago,
and allegedly a fifth grader
just by nature of knowing things. Now, of course, there's the whole thing of like, well, if you compare it, no, of course, these people who are actively seeking out knowledge and trying to figure things out are smarter in quotes. But it's like, I always like to laugh and say to kids, like, we used to be just like afraid of the sun and think the world was flat and all these things. I'm like, we know that's just not true.
Well, this is a random place to go, but thinking about like, say, our founding fathers who were like the most intelligent men in the country at that time. Like, so many of them were polymaths, and they and they dabbled in so many different varied things. Like, he's no moral authority, but somebody like Thomas Jefferson was like, he was kind of a scientist. He was a little bit of an engineer and an architect, and also like a political scientist. It was just, so like your average, like, there's some like 18, 19-year-old like community college students that it would in theory be smarter than like some people of the past, but a sense of inquiry is nowhere near what that is. And I would say, quote unquote, adjusted for inflation, doesn't pass the smell
of course
test,
not. But and we have so much information just laying around these days. You can find out anything. I mean, but nobody wants to. So it's like that.
But unless you come here, then Ticket Stubs is of course going to be your go-to for movie stuff.
Whatever. We'll get into all that. That'll be, in fact, the most of what we talk about. But
Levi's like, anyways, let's talk about how stupid everybody is. As a way to like kick off our rebrand. Well, you're not wrong, by the way.
And then of course X for Twitter. That's just stupid because it's like, well, then I get confused. What are you talking about? The Ty West film? Are you talking about the letter itself? Are you talking about the drug? Like, what are we talking about? I'm confused. And why is it X? And why does it have that weird like Grindhouse filter on it?
By the way, like their AI Grok, literally one of the dumbest names I can think of in modern media.
Well, speaking of, I mean, you go back to Poor Richard's Almanac. We were talking just a second ago about the Founding Fathers. That's like one of the dumbest names for anything I've ever heard, other than the Pickwick Papers. But
I'm thinking about reading that very
going
soon,
back
actually.
to Charles Dickens. But,
not Manson.
No.
Don't
you think also like Benjamin Franklin, genius? Weird as hell. Came up with all kinds of weird stuff to be into, and you're like, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your intellect on like, well, when mature women are better to have sexual relations with? I don't want to read about that. I don't care. Like, I guess that's interesting. Like, okay, yes, I just did get done reading Tropic of Cancer. You'll hear all about that eventually. But like,
is that why he invented the bifocals? Do you think is just so like when he's like looking at an older woman, he doesn't have to see the wrinkles; he can see the top part, and he's like, it's a little fur, a little fuzzier, and then it's like if closer inspection, he's like,
could be.
I don't know.
That honestly, literally wouldn't surprise me if he is like, well, actually, I did this because. Yeah, anyway, all right, we'll move on.
So the two movies we're going to be talking about today are Point Blank from 1967 and Widows from 2018. It is Noirvember, Levi. So how about Neo-Noir November? Like that's... I don't know if that's exactly what we thought about when we planned these movies we did, but it lined up.
Well, actually, to pull apart the curtain here, and kind of talk about our thought process, our learning standards, if you will, our NC course of study standards.
Have displayed on the board, please.
Right, yes, well,
thankfully my admin's, and I actually do that every day, but my admin's like, have it up, but...
Yeah, we do that, but they do I can statements, and that's easier, which are basically objectives that we base on, that literally Wit and Wisdom writes for me, so I just write, But anyway.
Seeing a lot of Wit and Wisdom these days with 8th grade?
No. Mr. Duggar, shout out Terry
Duggar, friend of the pod.
Cecil Duggar. That is his middle name.
Wow.
Cecil.
No, I didn't.
Anyway, he said one time, he's like, there's not a whole lot of wit and not a whole lot of wisdom. That's not what I was going to say. But anyway, with these two movies, I think we had decided we wanted to do Widows because we're going to talk about this later about it being a Thanksgiving movie, ? But we watched this like a couple days before Thanksgiving. I know you had seen it already, I think, and then I went to see it with you a second time. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
And so it was like right before Thanksgiving when we saw it. So, yeah, that's kind of why we talked about we wanted to do Widows just regardless, and then we kind of chose Point Blank along with it because we had talked about it being these kind of... what's the word? Unconventional crime movies of some sort.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And again, they are both neo-noirs in their own way, so that makes sense. I actually just looked on my letterbox. I have not seen this movie in any month other than November. So I saw November 17th, 2018, November 21st. I think I've been meaning you saw it. And then I saw it November 20th of 2020 and then November 17th of 2025. So... 4 times I've seen this movie. They've all been a November
movie. Then
I always associate Lincoln as a Thanksgiving movie unofficially too, because that came out at Thanksgiving of 2012, and it also literally Lincoln himself literally has connections to the history of like Thanksgiving Gettysburg Address we just celebrated the anniversary of that yet again. That was in November also. Yeah. So there's just a lot of Lincoln-ness associated with that. And it's also just it's the classic fall movie drama Oscar.
Yeah.
Kind
well,
of
and also
movie.
it's set around an election, and we'll talk about all this later. But it's not technically in. I think it's like a special election, so it's not in November.
Oh, Widows.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What are you talking about?
I was thinking about Lincoln still.
Right. Right.
Because that's early 65.
No, my brain was jumping all over the place. But yeah, so that's another reason it's kind of like a and then of course, Lincoln's about that, and it's not that. I mean, that's about the quote unquote lame duck period of the president who's won. You know, whatever you want to call it, the period in between the election and the inauguration.
Yeah,
we should say we are recording this on November 22nd, 2025. So it is the 62nd
anniversary,
6-7 anniversary of the Kennedy assassination. We did a whole episode on that about
JFK in general,
which I'm literally I'm pointing at right now on the on your stacks,
Blu-ray.
But anyway, just wanted to mention that. So
go check that out. It's hard to believe that's been 4 years ago since we've done
when we did that, because it was
21. I think it would have been. So it'd been 4 years ago.
I don't remember
think
when it actually was. We watched it 2 years ago almost. I remember again. So after that, because it was around Christmas, because that was when I had the flu. But anyway, just something to mention is that. So go look that up. I always love to promote. That was a great episode. Really long. Because we talked about the whole thing, and since then I've even more so than you, but especially just been like, I just think it was Oswald, and I don't have and whatever. But there's more and more evidence I've seen that the Justice Department called me up and let me look at, and I was like, okay.
Levi, he went to the swamp, the deep state, and that's what they fed him.
Yeah,
I'm saying that ironically.
Well, I guess
I don't actually believe that. Zoran Mamdani?
Yeah, I honestly was trying to remember his name. Mamdani. I knew it was with an M, and I couldn't remember. Mamdani can go into the Oval Office and come out, and Trump be like, yeah, he's a good guy. I guess anybody can go in there then. I don't know. I don't know what his political play on that is, or unless he was just so taken aback by Mamdani's niceness that he just couldn't.
I think a part of it is Trump could be easily flattered, as we know. And
he was probably patting his little bottom and doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway. I guess it's time for our Blue Plate Special, Tom. We actually have a couple things here.
This is coming out right around Thanksgiving, it should be said.
Yeah.
So, carve up that turkey, get that cranberry sauce ready, and
put them deviled eggs in your belly button.
It's time for the Blue Plate Special.
Hi, Audrey.
Mama, have a cup of coffee, please?
Sure. I'll have what she's having.
Hey, who ordered the large pepperoni? Coming up!
Your nondescript roast beef that's in the crock pot that your aunt brings is right here.
Remember a few years ago when I just was thinking about the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. We did a commentary.
What was the worth of any of that? Is what I
was just gonna say. It's like it didn't come out the next day. It's like nobody's gonna go back and watch it. Like, anyways,
it's more of just us reacting to it, I guess.
Right?
But,
yeah. But I might just try to watch the one this year, but then listen to the audio of that
see
how much of it connects.
Al Roker's still alive. Yeah. I mean, dang.
So we don't have a whole
preemptive RIP.
Well,
to Al Roker.
We should say that more often. It's like preemptive rest in peace.
Well, I was really thinking about Dick Cavett the last few days because, you shared the thing of him and
I went back. I know what you're going to say, but the Norman Mailer Gore Vidal scuffle, which I know you're doing this writing project that involves some of that, but I went back and that's like comfort viewing for us is just to go back and watch old Dick Cavett.
I thought you meant specifically
that one's too, but I'm just talking about in general. I love going back and watching old Dick Cavett clips. And anyways, I recently watched one. There's several with Orson Welles that are really good, but Where was I going with this?
We were talking about preemptive RIPs, and I was saying like Dick Cavett is the one I've been thinking of. Is that just specifically we're not really going to have anybody like that anymore. I mean, I know Adam Friedland, he kind of does a show that's very like Dick Cavett-esque, but his is more like obviously inherently comedic, whereas Dick Cavett's asking actual questions.
I mean, this has been a whole conversation point for a while that like at this point it's genuinely true that like there are a good deal of podcasts that are like more popular talk shows now than like your traditional network talk shows are. Especially a lot of them are on video now. So
which is weird because radio never really exactly had that. I mean, you have like Howard Stern, you had the shock jocks, but as far as like older radio, talk radio wasn't a thing that was that popular on the level that podcasts now are. It's weird.
Even like I'm looking at like Hitchcock's stamps I've got over here. Like if I was just thinking about like say like the 1950s, like you would have certain like film stars or filmmakers, which was even rarer. Hitchcock would have been one of the few that would have actually done it. Who would have like went on like done some radio spots and a little bit of promotion, but it was all strictly controlled by the studios. And you could say, well, aren't they now not as tightly as they were then, but to an extent they still are.
Well, it's like they had that whole thing that happened. I don't know if you followed this at all. That one actress that was on Succession got like fired this week. And that whole thing seems really confusing to me because basically they had Nick Fuentes on, and can the real total clown. It's one of those things. I'm gonna just look up a thing about him that somebody wrote or that he said, and then somebody said, "Yep, that literally perfectly sums him up," and he said it himself. Literally, basically, he's like political views. Yeah, he said. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the F up. Blacks need to be in prison for the most part. And we part. Yeah, right. He's hedging his bets, we would live in paradise. White men need to run the household. They need to run the country. They need to run the companies. They just need to run everything. It's that simple. It's literally that simple. This was described as a helpful distillation of his ideology by the New York Times columnist Michelle Goldberg. It was like, yeah, just go there. Can you believe that somebody would outwardly say that?
Oh, and then he's got like a following of millions of people, I think, that listen to him.
And I know that him and the like Charlie Kirk fans kind of got into some tussles here and there.
Yeah, there's been this whole grasp for power of the like commentary of the last
I don't want to totally, and I know that Charlie Kirk believed pretty much all those things, but I don't want to totally label the Charlie Kirk adherence with that either because he didn't just outwardly speak that.
No, I mean? I think most people would agree Fuentes' views are more extreme than Charlie Kirk's views were.
But I'm saying it's really weird to me because like even with Charlie Kirk I can just shrug and say, okay, well, I don't agree with a lot of those things, but then you have somebody like this and you're like, I can't understand how anybody would openly be like, oh yeah, I want to be a part of that. I mean, it's literally Nazism is all it is. But because I think he went to the Unite the Right rally when that happened. I wasn't aware of that. But
speaking of fascism,
anyway,
welcome to the Running Man.
Welcome to the Running Man. Nick Fuentes is a stone cold crackhead.
So the Running Man, the new Edgar Wright movie, just came out recently. We haven't actually seen a lot of like new movies since we've recorded the last podcast, so this was one of the few that we were able to do. So the Running Man obviously is it's been categorized more of a readaptation of the original Stephen King novel as opposed to a remake of the 1987 film. Mm-hmm. I guess you would agree with that. Yeah. Solid cast. We got Glenn Powell, William H. Macy, Lee Pace, Michael Cera, Amelia Jones, Daniel Ezra, Jamie Lawson, Sean Hayes, Coleman Domingo, and Josh Brolin. Again, Edgar Wright co-wrote the screenplay with Michael Bacall, who also he's worked with before, I think, on Scott Pilgrim. This is a movie that, like, it just felt like, I know oftentimes we say appointment viewing in terms of like, I'm all caps seated, like I can't wait to see this thing. This was more like, I got my once every 2-3 year appointment with the Edgar Wright movie now,
Right.
and I got to go see it. And
Yeah,
I don't exactly. It's like
Yeah.
going to a dentist that you actually kind of like. It's like, well, I like the person at the helm here, but I don't know. This thing is, I would say, as fun as it used to be. And what I mean by that is with the dentist, that like when I was, I went to a pediatric dentist when I was a kid, they at least had an N64 there.
Yeah,
it's like,
Super
that
Smash
was cool.
Bros. You can play, yeah.
So, anyways, a very long-winded metaphor just to say, I think my bigger, because we saw this movie together and talked about it a little bit, then haven't really said much about it since then. One thing I've really thought about is that this is just a very simple review, but I think it's one that could be, to me, what speaks to my thoughts is, man, I wish he would just start making movies with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost again, because that lightning in a bottle quality of his earliest movies seems as though it's starting to get trampled by he's becoming a little bit of, I'll just do a studio movie. As far as like studio movies, like action movies of that size go, yeah, okay. But like it lacks that Edgar Wright specificity that we all loved in those early movies that I feel like Baby Driver, which I know you, or at least at one point, I haven't heard you talk about in a while, was a big fan of. Like that had a little bit more of obviously the Edgar Wright specificity in it while still being a more traditional action movie. Yeah. I think Glenn Powell was pretty good in The Running Man. My favorite parts were when he was just enraged and angry. Like beyond, there's this one scene in particular
where they're basically doing the like
Rorschach test.
The Rorschach test, and there's which reminds me of the game. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
And a million movies have done that, so I'm not just saying it's that. But yeah, and he's like, the cutest puppy I've ever seen.
With this incredibly insincere, smug face as he's saying it.
Yeah. My favorite part is like they're doing word associations like anarchy, win.
Then that compounded with like, he's got a daughter who's sick. I'm sorry. I did not care 1% about any of the family stuff. So, and it felt so like, and compared to the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, which I think in a lot of ways this is technically better than, but follow me with on this. Like, it had the knowledge of just like, we're not doing that crap. We're just gonna make him.
Well, I don't even know that the book was that.
I don't know either. But like, he's like, the hell with you, and then at the beginning, and he just
where you're like, he's not willing to like murder innocent people, but he's also like, I'll be an a-hole. I don't.
I just didn't buy the family stuff in this new one. Again, I really actually liked how the movie jumped between. I'm watching this on the phone. I'm watching this on the TV. I'm watching it in the studio. Like, I really enjoyed all that aspect of the phoniness of this world and how all the digital images, as we know already, are being manipulated for outright propaganda. Not even purely political propaganda, but just pure commercial like propaganda. So in that way, it was actually a surprisingly angry movie that I kind of appreciated that aspect of. But I kind of just want my old Edgar Wright back. I don't know. It just might seem very simplistic, but
it's to the point. To me, where like with his movie, I mean, this is a movie that easily could have fallen through the cracks, and we've had a lot of those this year where we say, we might, I mean, you have that every year, but where you're like, I'll go see that, and then you don't, and to me, I think the worst thing that can happen to a new movie is for that to happen, because like, I still haven't seen Nickel Boys. Because to me, when a movie I just barely miss, when I put that nail in the coffin on a year, it's done, and I might not see that movie for another like 5 to 10 years.
I might have mentioned this on the pod before, I don't remember, but Nickel Boys was one of those movies that like I think we had just recorded our best of episode and everything, and then like I went with my future sister-in-law Kaylee. Me and her just went to go see a screening of that at Carolina, put on by Foot Candle. I remember walking out and thinking, that might have been the best movie of 2024. But we'd all moved on. And so I know there was people who were already saying that about that movie in particular. And I was like, I'll get around to it. And then I finally did. And I was like, dadgum, that was powerful. That was a really important, actually, kind of movie. And it had already been moved on from. Yeah. And that was already going to happen because it was a streaming movie. But as you said, like, that happens with things that just fall through the cracks.
So this sort of The Running Man, definitely. Welcome to The Running Man, definitely. And sadly, that didn't exactly happen in the movie, of course. But
no,
that movie would have just fallen through the cracks, and I never would have seen it for a long time.
Last Night in Soho is one of those movies I haven't seen and I like that better than this.
Yeah,
as far as recent Edgar Wright goes,
I don't know the whole. I feel like the whole swinging '60s movie. It's like my first my two movies that I want to ask over this is like, okay, is it blow up? No.
You
okay.
mean in quality?
Is
like,
it,
no.
well, no, literally.
No.
I'm saying,
Right,
is it blow up?
No.
No. Is it an Austin Powers movie? No, then I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of like, those both did the serious and the comedic version of that entire world, and it's kind of like, I don't care about that.
I agree with that. I will say this has this, like, the current day looking at that idea. There's a framing
I get it, but,
device that it makes that a little different, but I do agree. I understand what you were saying, but...
Anyway, so yeah, that's all to say that he's somebody I kind of like left up for dead at this point. I mean, and that
what I mean by that is just somebody who's like was a filmmaker that showed a lot of promise, and then things just kind of went sideways. And
well, it's weird because I think he's had enough of a career where I don't even want to say he showed a lot of promise. He showed his promise, and to me, I'm like, okay, whatever. And he's a young guy. I'm not acting like he's real old, but like he made so many movies in that short period of time.
There's that window between, like, say, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim, and The World's End, where he felt like the quote-unquote kind of coolest commercial director that was working at that time.
I really like The World's End as a movie. I think that movie's
Our cousin Philip, actually, he stands by
underrated.
that as really
and it's
highly.
not, like, Hot Fuzz is his best movie, like, I think. And so I'm not saying that's not the best. Or even Scott Pilgrim is, like, a more interesting movie than that. But anyway, my point is that I think what happens, and this happens to a lot of people, you know, the foreign director goes to Hollywood and all the things that come with it. I mean, John Woo is the biggest version of that. I mean, you go from making Hardboiled to making Face Off, which I like Face Off, but it's like, no, you know. Didn't we do that on the podcast at one point?
Yes,
we did that at some point, yeah. So...
we do like Face Off and My Best Friend's Wedding or something. It was like movies of the maybe not. It wasn't that pairing, but it was like I know when we did the '90s. We went.
It
through
might
the
have
90s
been
movies,
actually
like,
because we were doing those double features of '90s movies. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I was thinking the other day about how we literally did Until the End of the World and A Brighter Summer Day. Just like, oh my god, like, you know, it's just both great movies, but dang, you know. Yeah, I don't. My point is that it's no surprise to me what's happened to Edgar Wright. I mean, when you know, is that what it was?
My Best Friend's Wedding and Face Off.
Yeah, okay. And then what was the one after that? American History X and
Last Days of Disco. Something for everyone, you know,
or no,
for the girlies and the punk trash and the haters, and you know, like
so Last Days of Disco is the punk trash. With the island. But I have been watching The Chair Company, by the way, and Jim Downey's on that. And it's pretty funny.
That, yeah.
But I've only watched the first 2 episodes, and I'm way behind. But like, yeah, there's this whole scene where Jim Downey's like got these bubbles. He's got like a bubble wand around his neck, and he's just like blowing them at random times. And Tim Robinson gets mad and like rips it off his neck, and he goes, "Oh." And it, like, leaves a little mark. And there's, like, a scene later where, like, he's showing it to the boss. And he can see it far away. And he's like, oh, F, you know, like, that this happened. I'm like, why is anybody defending the fact that he literally has bubbles? He's, like, blowing them. That's so stupid. Like, but anyway.
Been renewed for a 2nd season, by the way.
What, The Chair Company?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's been funny, but it's just, I haven't watched a lot of it. But, so anyway, that's all. Anyway, Edgar Wright. But it's just as far as the movie itself, though. I'll get to that. Like, I think it's good. I'm really impressed by the mise-en-scene of the movie, like you were kind of saying about the digital aspect of that and how it updates the TV show to that, or from the original movie, and just in general how it. Just the world it builds, I think, is actually pretty interesting in terms of the way everything looks. It looks like a lot of effort was put into it. And the action is good.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And it like goes over like a space of a month. Like that was something I was not aware of.
Which I think, is what the book did, I think. I don't know. I haven't read the book. We're going to talk about the book here in a second, something specific. But yeah, I mean, it was like a perfectly passable, fine movie. You know, and to me, I both appreciate that it made it all about this class warfare kind of thing, but also I'm just getting so cynical in my life about the concepts of class warfare that it's like, okay, well, why don't we stop putting it in movies, actually start doing something about this? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, if we're going to be all like cutesy and be like, oh, let's have this message. Like,
we all know a true revolutionary work of art is not going to be made by a major studio anyways. Like,
and I'm not even saying that's necessarily going to affect a lot of things. I mean, art can influence people to think a certain way, obviously, and I believe in the power of art. But I also believe that, the Running Man is not going to accomplish what it says it wants to, necessarily. And I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm just getting kind of tired of that already. Mm-hmm. Like the whole class warfare movie here, especially in the first year of Trump's presidency, where it's like, well, it's not going to make any difference, so why do I care?
Don't you think, too, like in general, and this is just less a criticism of the movie exactly, more just of a statement of like where we are, is that there have been so many movies, TV shows, books that have since been inspired by the original Stephen King Running Man, and even the movie to an extent, the original movie. Yeah. That, like, we talk about this all the time about, like, things get ripped off so many times, but then you see a genuine readaptation of that thing, and it's like, okay, so what? You know, like, Hunger Games exists now. Oh, gosh, what was the Japanese movie about the kids? Battle Royale. Like, you know, we have so many things about, oh, my God, reality TV, it's just killing our brain cells, and it's all like, you know.
Well, then we had The Long Walk here recently, too.
Bread and circus, you know, in the midst of all these things, like, and also literally The Long Walk was another Stephen King.
Another Richard Bachman book.
Yeah, right, specifically. So.
Yeah, and I said with that, I said my review of that, and I've said just off air about how I think that there's so many of these TV shows. It's like, but that's not literally what entertainment is. We don't literally kill people on TV and watch it. And then the Charlie Kirk thing happened, and it was kind of that weird, and I'm not going to get into, that whole thing other than just say how many people were viewing that over and over. And you didn't even see it. I did. I literally watched it just as a historical document to be like, okay, this is out there. I want to see what it is, and then watched it maybe 3 times, and then was like, all right, I'm done. I don't want to watch this anymore, Mm-hmm. Whereas that was just like people kept talking about it, kept watching it,
Yeah.
And I thought, well, there's a kernel of truth somewhere in all this, but I said I think more the movie that's got it the most right is something like Videodrome, which is like in a even smaller, it's not like a mainstream version of this of like, there's people who watch snuff films online, that sort of thing. Like, I get that, but I'm saying, I don't even want to go into it, but something I knew about years ago that looked really screwed up was some stuff on the dark web of people like low-key torturing other people, and that was a whole thing, and I like immediately, I won't go into a whole lot of details, but friends of mine that were watching that, and I was immediately like, I don't want to see this. This is weird. Like, and so I know that this kind of stuff exists, but I'm just saying in that mainstream, like all of society is tuning in to watch people get murdered on TV. I don't believe in that because it literally doesn't exist.
Just to mention that tradition of story or movie in recent times, a much smaller, more intimate version of that could also be We're All Going to the World's Fair, Jane Schumer. That's more about the internet, obviously, more than
so like
TV,
I know that these things exist in smaller ways, but like I'm sorry, that's just kind of just like it's kind of fraudulent to me to just like, and I know what it's trying to say is that, well, what about movies that are simulating that? I'm like, well, you're the movie doing it,
right?
So what do I care? You know what I mean? Like, yes, I understand. In video games, and sure, it's like but those aren't real.
The
though,
movie itself, isn't it messed up that you're watching it? It's like, I don't know, isn't it messed up that you made this? Like,
but my point is, and I get what they're saying, is that people are desensitizing themselves to violence, and I'm like, but that's not. And I believe in the idea of catharsis in general. I know some people don't, and I've actually had conversations with people who don't believe in it, of the idea of that seeing these things in its own way absolves a certain amount of something within the self. I do believe in that. And that I'm not saying that people that make these things are totally above reproach, but the fact that somebody stabbed their parent and then a DVD of Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie Halloween 2, is found in their trash can, like, how is that Rob Zombie's fault? You know what I mean? Like, that just doesn't track to me. Because that's another way for people to not actually talk about gun control and things that can actually be done, rather than art that doesn't exist. You know, that art that if it didn't exist, these things would still happen, or that it encourages people that are on the precipice of doing something like that to do it. And you and I have talked about how a lot of video games actually probably keep more people from doing those things.
I think
of like getting that anger out on the visual sense. You know? And so I just don't believe in that and art as being implicated in real life event, because no matter what, it isn't real. So it doesn't matter what you do in art. It's not real. And people that can't distinguish, well, then that's their problem, or that's their parents' problem, or whatever, you know. Or they're mentally disturbed to where that's no one's problem. You know what I mean? So that to me is just kind of BS. The whole idea of like, we watch murder on TV. No, we actually don't. And if we do, then that's something that happens by accident, or it's a freak occurrence, you know. And so all that I'm kind of just find fraudulent. So in general,
do you think like a good new when I say good, I'm not talking about just competence, like something that's actually really saying something interesting version of The Running Man could have been made in 2025.
Well, then you have the Squid Game thing too. I mean, you have Squid Game that's come out more recently, and that's what's weird about that too, is like I'm a really big fan of Korean cinema. Which reminded me of why I need to get Mubi again, because I'm like, well, there's actually all these movies that are coming out that I haven't been watching that I'll probably be like, yep, not as good as Lee Chang Dong, but anyway, like, that's always my go-to. I'm like, okay. Because, I mean, I think Peppermint Candy's randomly, it's not one of the best movies ever made, but it's like...
It's a great movie.
It's like, why aren't people talking about that more than friggin' whatever Bong Joon-ho's going to make next? Like, I don't care. And I know that movie 17. Came out like a long time ago, but Mickey not seeing 6'7".
6'7".
Nikki, why is it only 17, by the way? It's like, shouldn't there be more?
I don't know.
What is Mark Ruffalo up to, by the way? Just in that movie and in general.
I have a conversation about him in a little bit based on something else he's going to be in.
Anyway, but my answer is no. I don't know that anything new could be done. I mean, because a lot of this stuff, if they really would have done it the right way, they would have done it less on television and more on literally on social media. And
I feel like we already, I mean, Eddington come out just this year, which we've talked about already.
That's a version of that. I mean, and then we've seen even, like you said, we're all going to the World's Fair in a small, that's not exactly that, but it's like in the realm of it. And so there have been other things that have done versions of this already. And I mean, even Batman, the Matt Reeves movie, does a big, that's like the biggest mainstream version of that we've seen. And so, and that's what makes that movie's mise-en-scene great, is because it's going between these like weird gothic architecture and like totally modern, you know, stuff. And I'm not saying it's on the level of even like the aesthetic of Batman the Animated Series exactly, but it's like trafficking in those same ideas about, you know, these totally different worlds being put together. But anyway, no, I don't think it can be done, or if it can, they're not going to do it. And I don't. And the thing is, it's getting to the point where these are kind of just eternal stories at this point, because they keep talking. They talk about this in this movie. I want to build a new Coliseum. I want this to be like Rome. I want it blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well that happened back then, and is it really that different now?
The closest we got to that actually being literalized in recent times was Megalopolis.
Yeah, and that wasn't even about that.
Not
impulse,
that exactly,
right.
no, but it did have that whole bread and circus amongst all this stuff. This societal on the verge of collapse or transformation at the very least.
Meanwhile, everybody looks like they're in an Ayn Rand movie, the way they're dressed. But that movie's so
I think it didn't. I don't think that still has like a U.S. Blu-ray release yet, which I feel like we need. Did we talk about that a little bit on the pod? I think we did.
We would have, because it was right after the hurricane.
We would do a deeper dive on that and maybe do it as an episode one day.
Yeah, eventually if we can watch it. Anyway, I just feel like I don't know that a lot.
I'll be honest. I think we've given this movie more oxygen than it frankly deserves.
Well, I want to give it one last puff here because I want to talk about the ending, and I want to talk about the ending of the book.
Yeah.
So
Levi made me aware of this.
And as a matter of fact, I'm going to read it because I did find a PDF the other day because I was talking about it with somebody, and I read.
And the most frustrating thing about the new movie is it seems as though it's about to deliver what this is, and then decides to, no pun intended, swerve away from it.
So let me find.
Because first, as Levi's finding that, so Levi's not read the book, but you've you know what the last page was or whatever, and so we were in Barnes and Noble recently, and he's like, "Hey, look at this last page," and I was like, "What is this?" And I was like, read it, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
It's literally one of the greatest endings of a book I've ever seen. I mean, it's very like Stephen King, Richard Bachman version of a way to end a book.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read a little bit here, but basically what happens at the end is basically the ending of the original movie, which also didn't have the same ending as this.
Yeah.
Where it's that. It ends where he just goes in and like kills all the people, and it's like, oh, we're starting a real revolution now, and that's like a real rah kind of ending. Obviously, this is
when it's showtime.
Exactly. Yes,
as he says, as a Schwarzenegger says.
I'm actually going to read further up than I've even read to you here.
Okay.
And now the jet cruised across the canal, seemingly held up by the hand of God, giant, roaring. A push freak in a doorway stared up and thought he was seeing a hallucination, the last hope dream, come to take him away, perhaps to General Atomic's heaven, where all the food was free and all the piles were clean breeders. The sound of its engines drove people into doorways, their faces craning upwards like pale flames. Glass show windows jingled and fell inward. Gutter litter was sucked down bowling alley streets in dervishes. A cop dropped his move along and wrapped his hands around his head and screamed and could not hear himself. The plane was still dropping, and now it moved over rooftops like a cruising silver bat. The starboard wingtip missed the side of the Glamour Column store by a bare 12 feet. All over Harding, free V's went white with interference, and people stared at them with stupid, fearful incredulity. The thunder filled the world. Killian looked up from his desk and stared into the wall-to-wall window that formed one entire side of the room. The twinkling vista of the city from South City to Crescent was gone. The entire window was filled with an oncoming Lockheed TriStar jet. Its running lights blinked on and off, and for just a moment, an insane moment of total surprise and horror and disbelief, he could see Richard staring out at him, his face smeared with blood, his black eyes burning like the eyes of a demon. Richard was grinning and giving him the finger. Jesus was all Killian had time to get out. Heeling over slightly, the Lockheed struck the Games building dead on 3/4 of the way up. Its tanks were still better than a quarter full. Its speed was slightly over 500 miles an hour. The explosion was tremendous, lighting up the night air like the wrath of God, and it rained fire 20 blocks away.
Gosh.
That's literally the ending of a book.
Stephen King was on one to that one.
Movie didn't have the balls to do that, and we all know why, and it's because of 9/11. And I know you said recently on the Big Picture podcast, which we're fans of, you listen to that regularly. I do.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it, yeah.
And we love all them. But I know they say, oh, you can't do that now. You just can't. It just can't be done. I'm like, no, it literally could be. That's the thing is, like, if somebody had the balls to do it. And believe me, we did a whole podcast on 9/11, and I don't even like when people use the, like, George Bush meme all the time. I think that's kind of sacrilegious in its own way of, like, that's just, this isn't funny. You know, nothing about this is fun. Like, I actually get mad about that. So I don't take that lightly at all. But I'm like, but that was before that, and just because a plane flies into a building doesn't mean that's what that is. You know what I mean? And it's just like, that shouldn't be held accountable for something like that. And so
that would have showed the movie was off the guardrails and was actually willing to be.
And of course, the mainstream movie's not going to do that. Yeah. So, but that's literally one of the funniest endings of a book I've ever read. It's just like the level of like, dang, like.
And has that like that particular like when Stephen King gets mean, he gets really mean and really dirty.
I mean, Pet Sematary is one of the most uncomfortable books I've ever read, and that was written by him not even under the Richard Bachman. Like, just a really screwed up book. Everything that book's about is just like, wow.
It might be a silly thing to ask, but like just this year now we've had The Life of Chuck.
Yep.
We've had Long Walk, and now we've had this. All adaptations of Stephen King books of some note. Stephen King having a moment. It just seems like in particular that's like we're starting to see some more non-horror-ish King be adapted because he's so synonymous, obviously, with horror.
Well, to say, if you were to randomly look back, actually, at a lot of movie years, you're going to have a random amount of King movies getting made, mainly because he's made so many things and they're wanting to remake so many things. So actually, even though I
guess this Running Man out of those three is the only official movie that's a remake of one of those
hasn't been
things.
adapted before.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I mean, like,
I think it just really just speaks to his staying power as a storyteller.
Right, and I mean, it's also just because he's made so many things are willing to get made.
He's one of the few names also in contemporary cinema that's like a fairly sure thing financially. I know that this actual Running Man movie is actually kind of a flop.
Well, yeah.
But as far as like...
I think The Long Walk made money. Life of Chuck made enough, I mean, so...
It was made on a smaller scale, right. I think. So.
But, I mean, I know you're kind of kidding when you say that, but... I mean, pretty much every year is going to be...
Yeah, no, I think it's just... In particular, they're like non-horror King things. Which
yes. Now, as far as that goes, different. I mean, you're going to be getting to those. And I think that they all reflect their moment. I mean, The Life of Chuck particularly is a very, like, older version of Stephen King kind of writing. Very revival, very Bizarre Bad Dreams kind of, like, version of the way Stephen King writes now. Finders Keepers. Money. Yeah, I figured it did. I mean, people literally defecating on screen. You got to see that.
As of this moment, Running Man had a $110 million budget and has made $32.4 million.
That is bad. That is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it wasn't making money, but...
But speaking of fall movies, we're going to preview a little bit of some fall movies.
Yeah.
Levi was going to run through a little schedule.
Welcome to the run-through. The run-through is a stone-cold crackhead.
I mean... I think I can speak for both those. This is an exciting time of year, always, just because it's like some releases that we've been anticipating are coming out. Just in general, Levi, in the macro, and maybe I'll ask you this now, and I'll return to this question after we run through and talk about a lot of these. How are you feeling about like your like level of hype or interest in this fall movie season?
Well, it kind of like didn't have as many things here in the like immediate of fall. I think there's going to be some stuff that's coming out that's going to be pretty big right here about now. Mm-hmm. But as far as like, there's been a random amount of streaming movies like Train Dreams. I'm gonna try to watch that this week.
You just recently read that
because I just read the book. And the book's good, pretty great, but also so short. I'm kind of like, what exactly is this supposed to be? I don't know. I mean, it's
a villa, right?
Yeah. But I've heard the movie everybody loves. As far as I thought you were going to ask what I thought about the movie year in general, and that was going to be
we'll get into that.
But
we recover. Obviously, we'll have a best of 2025
right.
at the beginning part of 26. But
right. But
if you want to offer thoughts on that, by all means.
Well, I'll talk about just in general the coming up. There's not a whole lot of really big stuff here at the end. Have you for a moment? Have you heard about these Sisu movies?
I genuinely have not. No.
Okay, so the last year they came out, or a couple years ago, there's a movie Sisu that came out, and it's this like World War II action movie.
Where's it from?
From I think it's from like, let's see, Norway maybe, or Finland.
Okay.
I think it's Finland, or I'm kind of confused. Yeah, Finland. It's Finnish. But so there's these like action movies that it's about the Lapland War part of World War II, but it's like this is about this guy who is like a gold prospector, who's getting robbed by this like Nazi who's played by some random person, I think. I can't remember now who it was, but actor, and then it's like an action movie kind of. It seems like they're kind of like Mad Max Fury Road, but like World War II.
The poster kind of looks like.
And then there's a sequel that just came out that has Stephen Lang and Richard Brake in it.
Okay.
Also, so like it just is a really random type of movie.
You know, it's a freaky movie if he shows up.
Right, but I didn't know if you'd ever heard of those at all. Because
I think actually something about this is ringing a bell, but I didn't know hardly anything about it.
I know it's one of those things that it's like a lot of like film bro, specifically like World War II era movie crazies are real into.
Okay.
But I'm kind of like, I don't know what all this is and don't really care. So that just came out recently. Rental Family just came out also. So we'll just kind of get into it. Basically, we'll talk through some of these movies, but overall, not the best.
To me, there's
December
one big thing coming
but,
up that I'm putting a lot of hopes into, and some other things. I'm
then there's Jay Kelly is coming up too. That's another streaming movie that's kind of, it's already technically come out, but like. It's kind of a okay enough one, but I feel like there's other years that have had way better stuff than what we're about to get. But anyway, so Rental Family. What are you thinking on?
I laugh every time I see this trailer. So this is basically, it's like Brendan Fraser is like, he's literally like basically an out of work actor. It looks like from the trailers, who goes to Japan and is like being paid to like play these different roles, like a friend, a dad. All these different roles, and it's kind of funny to me, like there's a little thing at the very end of like showing, it's like this triumphant little montage, and it's like him wearing these like some kind of ears or something. It's like in a street festival or something. Having a good time, and I just want to laugh every time I see this. I'm like, what the?
Well, there's that one moment.
The hell is this? Like,
when
Brendan Fraser, who has won an Academy Award before so many other people, by the way, he won, of course, for.
Well, also it's directed by Hikari, which she had made or directed a couple of the episodes of Beef, the TV show.
Yes, which we love.
We're a big fan of.
This just seems like something.
I want to say another thing. The ending of this trailer, where it's like, it's okay sometimes to pretend, and it kind of lingers for a few seconds, and it's just like, okay, you can stop the trailer now. Like,
this is the movie that your wine aunt won't shut up about at the Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. Oh my God, we got to go see Rental Family. I love that.
You're like, I would rather have a Rental Family.
I love that Brendan Fraser, and he's just like be crying the whole time. And maybe it's not that bad, but come on.
I don't know. It just seems kind of like, what's going on here? I won't see that. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you.
About Zootopia 2, you going to see that?
No.
Aren't you shocked, by the way, that it's taken
this long?
When is that, by the way, Zootopia 2 is coming out?
It's 26th.
So that's like the week that this podcast will be dropping.
So there are two movies that are coming out on Thanksgiving Day. Wildcat.
Is that Rebecca Ferguson?
Kate Beckinsale.
Oh, okay.
It's action movie. Who cares?
Yeah.
And then Bloodstar, which is like a neo-western horror.
Blockstar?
Okay. Yeah, basically. No one in it. No, John Schwab. It's a real Dom Cobb. Yeah.
But aren't you shocked that Zootopia 2 has taken them this long to make? Like, you would think just purely for the cash-in value alone that Disney would have. That seems like so long ago that first one came out by now. But
yeah, well, I remember specifically, and this is tied to a personal thing with us, that was when our grandmother died, our mama.
Oh, that's right.
We went and saw that and 999 as a double feature. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And then came out.
So that'd been 2016.
Yeah.
So it's been almost 10 years.
Yeah. Because we specifically, I remember, walked out of 999, and the ending of that movie where it's like Woody Harrelson with the tie on the rearview mirror, and he shoots the guy, and then he dies, and we walk out and we find out our grandmother.
Let me just say, 999 was on the table for this episode, and it
was.
will be once again talked about.
Yeah,
I've not seen it since it came out, but I deeply love it.
But yeah, did you see that Zootopia? We went to go. I don't know if you were in the room when this happened. We went to go see The Running Man, and there was that kind of like preview for Zootopia 2 at the beginning, like even before the regular previews, in the Screen Vision crap. Or is that what they call it now? Screen Vision? They call it something else. I don't know. It used to be Screen Vision. I don't know what it is now. Anyway, and it's that Jason Bateman is in it, and then other people start to talk, And he's like, anyway, we're out of time, and moves on.
I have seen that.
And it's like specifically all women that he's doing that to. It just really is not a good look at all. I thought of that immediately. I was like, all these are women that he's like talking over. And it just seemed really weird.
I'm always shocked by how much I'm not annoyed by Jason Bateman. Because I think in theory he should really annoy me, like a Ryan Reynolds kind of smug
Ozark
persona.
bought you enough.
Well, I didn't even see that. But
no, you know,
I don't know. I'm like always like, I don't hate you. Why?
Yeah.
I
always
know,
heard that Ozark, like the first episode of that show was like a whole season of TV.
Yeah.
And I was always like, what? And then I watched it and I was like, dang, it was literally like no breaths taken at all. It was like, this happens. It was like, just set up for that. But anyway, I just thought that was really weird and really inappropriate. Like, just, especially for a kid's movie, it's like going back to these primal urges. I don't really get. All right,
Imagine a kid's movie called Primal Urges. By the way,
yeah.
Imagine like Disney Pixar comes up with their Black Label or their Vertigo line. You know, it's like the Pixar After Dark or something. It's like Primal Urges. You know,
but it's like a kid's movie. But it's
animated.
But it's like the goth kids, though. You know.
Yeah.
The Fry Kids moment of, you know what I'm talking about, right? The friggin' Fry Kids from
McDonald
Land or whatever. Okay, Wake Up Dead Man. This is the new Benoit Blanc movie from Rian Johnson. We were kind of making fun of this a while ago, or I was more than even you were. I'm gonna probably definitely end up watching this because it'll be something that Mom and Daddy and I'll probably watch.
It's coming out at the right time too, as far as holidays and everything.
Josh O'Connor, he's having quite a year.
He's going to be the lead of the new Spielberg movie next year too.
But anyway, this is going to have Daniel Craig, Josh O'Connor, Glenn Close. Oh, Glenn Close.
Meemaw, or it's supposed to be Meemaw and
whatever the hell.
What was it?
Are these people all on the same friggin'? Are they literally? Look at this. It looks like all of these were
it looks
taken.
like Glenn Close and Josh O'Connor looks like he's in somewhere slightly different, but then the Wikipedia thumbnails, that's
literally all these. Okay, no, all of these were taken on the red carpet for this movie
for TIFF.
They
TIFF,
literally
it looks like
Okay, hers isn't. His isn't. We already talked about this. Andrew Scott, really great in Blue Moon.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about that again. But yeah, Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, Andrew Scott, Kaylee Spaney, Daryl McCormick, and Thomas Hayden Church.
Now, I know Levi is a little negative on this. I definitely get where that's coming from. There is part of me it's like, why not? You know, I don't know. Like, as far as IP sequels go, this is among the most least toxic that can exist, I think, in the modern era.
Yeah, because it's pretty liberal too. I mean, so
I mean,
as far as that goes.
Now, like a while back, I had rewatched Knives Out, and actually, I'd only seen it the one time in theaters, so saw it again. I was like, oh, this is still pretty good.
It ends with Sweet Virginia. That's always a plus. I remember the Rolling Stone song.
Gravity's Rainbows mentioned in the movie, which I was
Johnson's
favorite book.
Which is funny because I was literally reading that book when that movie came out, and I was like, and they were like, nobody's finished it, and I was like, I'll show you, which I was going to do it anyway, you know. But
that's Ryan Johnson's favorite book.
Right.
But I have particularly no desire to really anytime soon rewatch Glass Onion. That's not anything I care about.
Too, is that I remember another time I was sick because I was literally
didn't that come out around the holidays too?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is I was sick 2 Christmases in a row.
That's right.
And because I had COVID the first one, and then the second one. This was a couple years ago, and then I had the flu the next one. And so literally, I remember Glass Onion was like the movie when I got to come out of my room and we all sat and watched, and I was like, "That's it." Like basically, it's like it just came at a time where I was really pissed off.
Was that like 22 when Babylon was coming out?
Yeah, because you went and saw that, and then I went and saw it with you after that. But yeah, so yeah, I don't.
What's
really,
even the premise of this one? Like,
Wake Up Dead, and it's literally got basically the like there will be blood font almost too. So please. All right, premise. Detective Benoit Blanc takes on a new case that brings him into the orbit of a charismatic priest, Monsieur Jefferson Wicks, and his devout congregation. Who is that, by the way? Let's see. Josh Brolin. Oh, please. He ain't going to be no priest. When a mysterious death occurs, Blanc must navigate a complex web of secrets and simmering tensions within the community to uncover the truth. That's actually kind of interesting to have it be like a more religious themed.
Yeah.
But then, of course, it's going to be all religion sucks the whole time. So, great, yeah. Even as a religious person, even outside of that, I'm just like, can we like not do that all the time?
I think if even an atheist is serious with themselves, like that is such an easy crutch and cliche like to do in media. Yeah.
But anyway, so I'll probably end up seeing that, but it's just I don't know. All right, Hamnet. Chloe Zhao
This is
movie.
like one of the big movies of the year. It's already won. I know a lot of people are, as of this moment, pitting that and One Battle After Another against each other as the Oscar movies this year. Hamnet again, Chloe Zhao. This was based on a book that came out a few years ago.
Based on the book Hamnet, as it says in the trailer, which is so like, what? Yeah, it's like,
why can't it just say based on the best-selling book? Why does it have to say
based on the best-selling book Hamnet?
Like, if it was named something else,
because then
that's
just going to continue to confuse people about the fact that it's not Hamlet.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're saying based on the best-selling like, they're going, wait, it was based on Hamlet? What do you mean?
Yeah. I do think this movie looks good. I know Spielberg is one of the producers behind it, and he's really like pushing it and promoting it.
Like the scumbag he is,
No, I don't even want to joke about that.
I'm kidding. Sam Mendes is also a producer on this. That's all. And Pippa Harris.
Jesse Buckley and what's his name?
Oh,
Paul Mescal.
Paul Mescal.
Mescal is in it.
Paul Tequila, whatever.
I think this does look good.
Yeah. But
it's not the big thing I was thinking of earlier when I said. But I am like, when is that coming out again? Like,
it's coming out.
Is it December
26th? So it's next week.
I think it's December 5th in wider release.
Okay, but literally this whole day right here, I just think it's funny. We need to talk about is Zootopia 2, Wake Up Dead Man, Hamnet, and then we'll continue with the other three.
I think it's going to get a wider release the next week.
Yeah, probably.
So,
let me look what it says. But yeah, it's like coming out. Well, actually, it says the 9th of January 2026. And oh, wait, that's United Kingdom. Never mind. Okay, it's not saying that about, but yes, probably.
They can't get that
5th.
Sooner. Like it's literally about their freaking arch hero of all time.
By the way, if you go to the Wikipedia, it says Hammet. It says not Hammet.
No, the French for Coppola movie. Yeah,
not Hammet.
Not Hibbett Sports.
Another movie, The Home, the 2025 Swedish horror film, and not Hammet from 2023, or The Landlady Don't Drink Tea.
What do you think about it though?
What, Hamnet?
Yeah, Hamnet, yeah. Based on the
Hamnet?
book Hamnet.
I think it's a really great idea for a story because I mean obviously it's we didn't say it's about the death of Shakespeare's son and how that kind of inspired him to write Hamlet.
Yeah.
And you know, I've seen the movie we did the movie version of Hamlet on here, the Kenneth Branagh one. And so I've only seen that. I haven't actually read Hamlet.
Have you ever seen it on stage? I don't think I have.
No, I haven't. But the more I think about it, I think, and everybody would probably say, yeah, of course, but that's got to be his best play because it's just a genius, work of genius. Sure. I mean, there's so many lines from that I just think about all the time that now that I know the context of, I'm like, oh, that's something. Yeah. Like, that's really great. So, yeah, I think it looks good. I mean, I don't think he looks anything like what Shakespeare was supposed to look like.
No, he got a glow up with Paul Mescal.
Definitely. I mean, he's literally one of the ugliest looking things I've ever seen. But anyway,
you dead SOB.
Yeah,
you dead ugly.
But that movie also is going to have, Jesse Buckley, who has unfortunately been in a lot of movies over the last so many years, but that she's notably going to be in this, and she was in that Women Talking movie, which I heard a lot of people that Sarah Polley movie. That she had also made.
Was she in something else this year that was?
Well, no, she's going to be in The Bride.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking
say
of.
Is that another thing she was doing? Yeah. There was another movie though that you used to talk about. Was it Stories We Tell?
Oh, yeah, the Sarah Polley movie. That's really good.
That you like. Yeah. But
that kind of has a random, really amazing twist that I don't even want to say what it is, but it's a pretty great little movie. Yeah.
But anyway, so then Jesse Buckley's also going to be in The Bride this coming up. Is it March or March 6th? until that gets pushed back, like GTA 5 or GTA 6. GTA 5 got pushed back. Did you hear?
The 65th edition of it has been pushed back. Yeah.
But anyway, so I think that should be a pretty interesting movie. And we'll see. But
we'll review it, I'm sure, eventually.
And Chloe Zhao, I mean, I've only seen Nomadland, but I really like that. I mean, notably, that was the first movie we got to see in a theater after the COVID. And she made that movie The Rider, which I know a lot of people really liked.
Yeah.
And then she made Eternals.
Yeah.
Like, remember that was like written by blah 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 and Chloe Zhao and blah blah and Chloe Zhao. It was like stupid. Anyway, Eternity is also that day.
Oh yes, that's a new A24 movie.
Yeah, and so it says after death, everybody gets 1 week to choose where they spend eternity. For Joan, Larry, and Luke, it's really a question of who to spend it with. Joan must choose between her first love, who died in a war, or the man she built her life with.
I'm a sucker for people.
Now I get it. I was going to talk about the fact that it says Miles Teller as Larry Cutler, and then it says Barry Primus as old Larry Cutler, and then Elizabeth Olsen as Joan, and then Betty Buckley as old Joan. It's saying, when they were like alive, they had lived together that long.
Okay.
And then there's this guy, Callum Turner's character, who had died in a war. But I thought at first it was like, we know who they're going to choose.
Yeah, right.
But
okay.
never mind.
I'm always a sucker for like
everyone but us.
Comedy drama movies like this that use spirituality or heaven or that kind of thing as a metaphor to tell story. I mean, like Love, Heaven Can Wait, Love, Defending Your Life is another one I was thinking of. Like, so I'm always like, we haven't had one of these in a while. I felt like so. It just seems like and I like all those actors. I've not seen
Rip Torn as an angel. In his own way. Not exactly an angel, but
I've not seen Caleb Turner in all that much, but I am aware of him. I think he's like engaged to Dua Lipa. So, anyways, like let me tell you something. Since we mentioned Glenn
John
Powell,
Early's also going to be in this. That's going to be.
Oh
good.
yeah,
I always love him. He's funny.
I feel like we're just. Why are we not liking
Joy Randolph? Also, by the way, sorry.
Why are we not doing more for Miles Teller? Yeah. He is, to me, a movie star who just keeps almost getting there, almost having that moment, and it just doesn't happen.
I think he was just in something.
What has he been doing? Okay.
No, I was thinking. Okay, listen to this. So he was not in a movie since Thank You for Your Service until Top Gun Maverick. Can you believe that? 2017 to 2022. Was not in a movie.
That's hard to believe. He wasn't in some TV show during that time or nothing, I wouldn't think.
No.
Okay.
Well, he was on The Offer, but like...
The Offer.
He was on that Too Old to Die Young show, that Nicholas Winding Refn show. I had forgotten about that. But still, there's nothing in between those.
And I've heard he's like kind of, what's the word? Like, he can be a little bit of a tough to work with guy. But I think, come on, Hollywood's filled with them, so I don't understand why that's that big of a problem. I just think, I thought he held his own as like a screen presence with Tom Cruise in Top Gun Maverick, and Glenn Powell ended up being the guy that was the biggest beneficiary of that movie. I think largely because he was a little bit of a newer face to most people. Yeah. And I like Glenn Powell. I'm pro Glenn Powell. But I just feel like Miles Turner just keeps getting passed over, and I don't understand
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller's. Yeah. I just don't understand why it's not happening.
We'll never forget the greatest film poster of all time, "Bleed for This," that had him, and then specifically Aaron Eckhart
with
bald.
his big bald. Yeah,
right?
Bald.
Yeah, like I
remember who's the female lead in that?
It was Emma Tillinger-Koskov.
Oh, okay.
Who was in Silence and The Wolf of Wall Street and The Irishman.
Okay.
So I honestly don't have a whole memory of her. I would if I seen her in a movie, but no, I remember I was, I'm definitely going to see Bleed for This.
We all have those things.
Right.
They're going to see that.
Because the poster's just so funny. I mean, but...
No,
he literally did Bleed for This, Only the Brave as Brendan Donut McDonough.
That's the firefighter movie.
Yeah, and then Thank You for Your Service, and then nothing until Top Gun Maverick. And then since then, he's kind of been in some stuff again. Like, it felt like that was the thing. They were like, let's make him a thing again. And then really, this is the first thing since that in a big way.
What's on the horizon?
He's gonna be in that. Oh, he's gonna be John Bronca
Right.
in that Michael movie.
Yeah.
The Ark and the Aardvark, and Paper Tiger. I've heard of that. Oh, that's that new James Gray movie that. That James Gray, Adam Driver CIA movie or whatever.
Oh, right.
You know that was.
All I'm saying is, if James
Russian
Gray,
Mafia, never mind.
Listen, if James Gray sees something in him, then
if James Gray sees something in him and he's made 2 movies that were pretty whatever in the past little bit, then yeah,
then let's do it.
The Bad Astra and Armageddon.
Bad Astra, yeah.
Yeah, James Gray's. He's one of those. What happened to you, man? Your eye used to be beautiful.
He has some of the best, most poetic things in the Hitchcock Truffaut documentary to say about Vertigo. That like,
No, I mean, he's genius.
I like James Gray,
but
yeah,
I also
agree.
am like, all right, let's do something good
So,
here. Let's go.
all right, yeah.
I mean, I'll See You Z was like great.
That was really
and it
good.
felt like since then it's been like, whatever.
Anyways, Eternity.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll see it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if it happens. You know, I've seen the poster forever in the AMC, and so I'm just like, oh yeah. That. What else?
Same day, Jingle Bell Heist. I just wanted to mention it, and then Outer Lands. And what is that? Let's see. Is that based on some crap? I have no idea.
Outer Lands.
Non-binary gig economy worker. Never mind. I'm done. All right, moving on into December. We'll go a little bit quicker. Not a whole lot going on. They're putting out another Diver Wimpy Kid movie. Can you believe that?
Roderick Rose.
Roderick Rose. Chronology of Water is coming out on December 5th. That's that Kristen Stewart movie that played at Cannes.
Okay.
It's like based on a memoir about a female swimmer.
Okay. I've not heard of this at all.
You really?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well,
there's Kristen Stewart's in it.
This is another one of the. Yeah, it's got Imogene Poots as the lead. It's another one of those movies that I wrote the name down so many times when I was writing the Cannes line up on my board at school.
Yeah.
Yes, I still did that. Has Kim Gordon in it, and Jim Belushi as Ken Kesey.
Okay. Wait, who did you say?
Jim Belushi.
Jim Belushi.
Ken Kesey.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, I've just kind of heard that that's pretty good.
Okay.
So that
I'm
that
now
Kristen
interested.
Stewart directed. And then let's see. Moving on after that, I know that it's already kind of come out, but I think Jay Kelly comes out on the 5th.
I actually do want to see that. I mean,
Yeah.
I like Noah Baumbach in general, but just also, I'm no huge Adam Sandler fan, but the prospects of him and George Clooney being in a movie together is just like, that's a combo I wouldn't immediately imagine.
And then jumping down a ways, there's not a whole lot that goes on for a week or two there. But you know what's weird? Another thing to say here at this point is that there's still a lot of movies that randomly come out at the end of the year that's like, oh, this is going to come out real quick. And it's like, oh, I didn't know about that. Or stuff just makes the rounds at the end of the year that you didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll jump to the 19th of December. Avatar Fire and Ash. So this is the 3rd Avatar movie. Talk about how much you hate Avatar.
I do not hate Avatar. Okay.
All right, anyway, is this thing on?
Wait,
is
let-
the movie
but
after
wait,
that?
real
Oh,
quick. I don't hate Avatar,
Yeah.
okay? Really like the first one. Really kind of love the second one. I've been wanting to rewatch it. I've still not seen it
I
but once.
rewatched it once.
I'm going to do that before the new one. I think for me, it's also just like Fire and that's just not going to be as visually imaginative to me as what The Way of Water was in terms of what all that
the
brought to
water.
the table, the aquamarine of it all.
It feels like he kind of like did what he wanted to do. I mean, we've always joked James Cameron would have sex with water if he could, and so it's like you kind of did that.
Yeah.
Now's the cleanup time, and it's fire.
All right,
and ash,
let's talk turkey here. What more is he gonna be able to say that's new and different and interesting in this world? I don't understand why he. I know. Oh, he just wants to do it. Well, he can do what he wants to do. He's James Cameron. I get that, right? But we're nearing the 30th year anniversary of Titanic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is all he has done since then. These movies.
That's not good.
Okay, so I say all this with frustration. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna see it. I'm probably gonna like it. But why James Cameron? Why? What? I just don't know what more you are going to be able to say with this. I will say the biggest thing that I want to see with this and that gets me more interested is the development of Scott Lang's character. What's his name?
You mean not Scott Lang?
What's his name?
Stephen Lang.
Stephen Lang, excuse me. His villain, I mean, he was a pretty kind of cardboard cutout villain in the first
You're not
movie.
in Kansas anymore.
The second one, I was like, what? I remember hearing him say, or somebody said, this is the Darth Vader of this generation, and I remember being like, whoa, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Slow down. And then I saw the movie, and I was like, oh.
He's pretty interesting.
Well, I don't know if I'd say that, but not as unjustified as I thought originally when I hear that.
Yeah, and I was randomly interested in the Sigourney Weaver daughter thing.
That was very weird, but well done.
Right.
So, like, there are elements at play at this that I do definitely want to see. I'm just wondering, like, are we... Because I think... Am I making this up? He's, like, said some things recently kind of saying, I don't know if I'm going to do all 5. Or, like, he's going to still work on them and do other things too, because I think he's working on that one movie about the atom bomb. I can't remember the name of it.
Since he's literally like besmirching the name of Christopher Nolan every chance he gets. Yeah.
Well, I've got more to say about that too, maybe here in just a second. Okay. But I do want to see it, but I'm also just like, you're dedicating the whole last like massive amount of your life and time in filmmaking to this.
He's in his 70s, isn't he?
He has to be. I mean, he's up there. I don't know. And am I wrong to be frustrated by that? That's all I'm asking. Because I mean, again, like the visuals of
71
these movies are, of course, next level and beautiful and amazing, but the story is not doing anything all that. I will say the characters are interesting. Yeah. But, like, the actual mechanics of the story, I'm just kind of like,
there's that moment in the trailer, too, you know, where it has, like, it's showing what the climax is going to be of, like, all the human ships going. And I'm, like, thinking back to how utterly amazing the climax of the second movie was. And I'm like, we ain't going to get any better than that. What are you doing that again for? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, it just so...
And, you know, I will say, this is a very insular film Twitter conversation to have for average people that are listening to this, or people that are just like not plugged into this. They're like, yo, you can't bet against Big Jim. It's like, listen, the guy's made how many billion-dollar movies now? At least 3. I get it. That doesn't mean that they're all these great masterpieces of cinema, though, in terms of just like being these real, actual things about flesh and blood human beings. I feel like the last time he did that was in a meaningful way with Titanic, and that was about 30 years ago. So all I'm saying is I am minorly excited. I think this movie, I will say that it kind of suffers from the gap between 1 and 2 rebuild up the anticipation, and this is coming out, just 3 years now after the last one. Christopher Nolan, you invoked his name in this. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, here's to me the heart of the Chris Nolan.
Scene.
This is a very one-sided rivalry, by the way.
Ocean. Sorry, excuse me.
That I'm actually fascinated by, because I think it actually says something about today. That he's made a few little comments about Oppenheimer being a cowardly movie because it did not show Hiroshima and Nagasaki and like give light to those victims,
even though it kind of did actually.
Yeah, and I won't even, that's a worthwhile conversation to have. I'm not like saying we can't even talk about that period, because I do think that, that's, I really love Oppenheimer, but I think that that's a fair thing to maybe talk about.
Sure.
James Cameron knows Christopher Nolan has taken the baton from him, is what it is. He knows that he is not the most relevant, important filmmaker in the world anymore, James Cameron, that is. Mm-hmm. And
James Cameron, noted fascist.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But like, I just feel like he knows he's not the center of attention, and that Nolan is now, and so he's just like finding these ways to snipe at it. To be honest, I'm much more actually excited to go see Avatar: Fire and Ash in premium format. So it's already been kind of rumored or basically announced, I think, that the Odyssey is going to get like an extended kind of sizzle reel, which Nolan likes to do with some of his event movies like that come out, especially around Christmas and ahead of their summer releases the next year. So I'm honestly, if I'm being totally perfectly honest, I'm actually a good amount more excited about that than I am Avatar: Fire and Ash. But anyways, I'm of course I want to see it. Of course, it's probably going to be pretty good, if not great. But all I'm saying is, James Cameron, if you're listening to this, which I'm sure you've made it an hour and 18 minutes into this podcast at this point, something else, maybe, please, anything.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I
just feel like I'm not unjustified in saying that.
No, I don't think you're wrong.
Anyways. You have any more thoughts on that? Or,
no.
Okay.
I mean, I agree mostly in principle, but also I think that it's nice to see that these movies continue to get made, because I keep thinking, oh, nobody will care about that. These movies are friggin' box office gangbusters for white people, okay?
Well, for everybody, they ain't making that amount of money if everybody ain't going to see it. I mean, like, in terms of just
I know, but what I mean about
success.
that, I didn't mean to make that seem like just specific to race, but what I meant is like, if you just get a random kid in my 8th grade and just be like, what does Avatar mean to your family? They're going to be like, oh my God. Like, it's this random thing. Like,
I mean,
with
that
these,
speaks
like,
to the
people,
appeal,
like,
I think. Even we do, but I know other people too see with these movies. Like, I'm going to Pandora.
Right.
I'm going to buy in when I go see this movie. I'm totally immersive, transportive experience.
No, this is one of the last things that can do that in a mainstream way. So, what I meant by that about the white people thing, I'm just saying there's like, it's randomly like, oh, all the grandmas are going out to see, but it's true, they randomly are really stocked into that. It's a really random thing.
Yeah,
and everybody's like, oh, I'm real into Avatar. And, like, nobody talks about it until it comes this time around.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, everybody's real into it, So, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think that, I wish he would do something else. But also, like, whatever. I mean,
he gave me Terminator 2, so that alone, I could just say, who cares? Let him do what he wants.
Right. The SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants. This is randomly the 4th SpongeBob movie.
I'm ready to ask how many there are now.
So they made Sponge on the Run before this, and I didn't see that.
That's the one
either.
I haven't seen.
Yeah, I haven't either. Yeah, I haven't seen any past the second one. To the point where it's making me think, do I need to just see that and then go see this one? I don't know. But it's just kind of random. They're still making these.
Well, let me just also ask you, check in on an 8th grade teacher here. Do those kids still care about, know about, watch SpongeBob?
No, not as much as you would think.
I didn't know where the pulse of that is right now.
My brain functions on that level constantly. Where I'm like, you see that SpongeBob episode where blah blah blah. Nope. Some of them know.
So do you think it's like entered that Simpsons phase where it's this legacy?
Yeah, it's that,
brand?
Or a lot of them say my parents didn't let me watch that, and I'm like, and I was hearing that back when I was a kid too. Like, kids were like, oh, I can't watch SpongeBob, like. I don't understand that at all. Like, it's not like it's saying the F word every 2 seconds.
It's not Ren and Stimpy or
No. So, like, I don't know. That show always got a bad rap for its humor. I don't get it. I just don't get it. But anyway, I mean, so no, there's a random amount of kids like, I'm not allowed to watch that.
I'm actually shocked by that.
Yeah, it's weird. Is this thing on? Bradley Cooper movie with Will Arnett, Laura Dern, Andra Day, Amy Sedaris, Sean Hayes.
Did you ever see Maestro?
No.
That was, I thought, okay to
it
find.
Had the Snoopy moment in it. I don't know that.
Yeah. I think this looks like I'll go see this. Like, I know it sounds like a ringing enthusiasm. I'll go see that, but
I probably won't. So,
well, I'll report back on it then.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny that Will Arnett's the lead. It's like if I blink twice and spin me right round, baby, right round. I might mistake Will Arnett for Bradley Cooper, physically, like the way they look. And it is kind of funny. I guess he's going to kind of sort of play an avatar of him in this, although he's also in the movie. Bradley Cooper is, but so I'll go see that.
Yeah, I won't.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, whatever.
I know Laura Dern's both in that and Jay Kelly. This little end of the year stretch. Now I think I've heard that there might be an more serious Oscar campaign for Is This Thing On for her.
For who?
Best Supporting Actress Laura Dern.
Oh,
is in Jay Kelly in that.
Okay.
But
after that, on the 24th, Christmas Eve, Father, Mother, Sister, Brother, probably the funniest
the new
name I've
Jim
heard
Jarmusch movie?
from anything. Mubi is going to be putting that out.
I saw. Did you see the trailer for that? There's
No.
one out there. Yeah.
Okay.
Tom Waits is in
Tom
it.
Waits, Adam Driver, Mayim Bialik, Charlotte Rampling, Kate Blanchett, Vicky Krieps, Sarah Green, India Moore, Lucas Sabat. Yeah, I have no idea really what that movie's about. We'll see. Oh wow, it has the whole friggin' thing.
Somebody who saw the trailer
follows 3 estranged family relationships in 3 different countries around the world. Oh, so it's kind of like Night on Earth.
Yes,
kind of
it
thing.
is very similar to that, or his like cigarettes and coffee
Right.
shorts. Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, I mean, I love Jarmusch,
Yeah.
so I'll.
All right, Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Or unless you had, sorry, did you want to say anything more?
I was just gonna say, like, it's been a while since he's made something. I guess that zombie movie he did.
I thought he did something after that, but maybe not.
I don't think so.
Dead Don't Die.
Dead Don't Die. I think that's his most recent thing he's
look.
done. That I love Jarmusch, so I'll see whatever he makes.
No, yeah, you're right. That was
eventually.
2019. So this is his first movie since COVID.
Yeah. So I don't know if that'll play at the AMC necessarily, but I'll try to see that whenever I can.
Yeah. And then okay, Christmas Day. This is quite an interesting little group here. We got 2 that are very like whatever, and then 2 at the end that are very like, oh yeah, okay. Anaconda.
Okay.
We
I've
laugh about this trailer.
already seen this trailer like a dozen times, I feel
It's
like.
not to the level of Caught Stealing yet, but it's getting there. What? No, it's not even really getting that close. But yeah, it feels like okay.
Yeah.
Like I've seen the movie now.
Well, I think part of it too is like I know Jack Black's already been a star for quite a while, but Minecraft's only now fueled. Oh, all right.
I swear I thought you were saying Mein Kampf for a second. I was like, oh my god.
People like Jack Black, so like we're definitely gonna lean all into that.
Yeah, nothing really to say about that other than just I think it is funny to instead of doing a remake, say why don't we do a remake about people making a remake of the movie?
Yeah,
like,
I do think that's kind of clever.
Yeah.
I will say.
I think the funniest thing about the trailer is where he's like, I can't wait. But he literally walks in the door of a guy's house like, I can't wait. We got to make Anaconda. It's just like, what? Like, pretty hilarious.
What a
like,
loser
yeah,
you are in your life. You're like, we got to remake Anaconda.
Yeah, like, you remember when we always said we wanted to remake Anaconda? Like, I'm sure no one has ever said as a kid, we need to remake Anaconda. They're going to say we need to find one. They're not going to say we need to remake. Anyway, Song Sung Blue, probably the weirdest movie.
That's the Hugh Jackman,
The
Neil
Hugh
Diamond.
Jackman, Neil Diamond cover guy.
Okay.
Okay,
Who's directing this?
Craig Brewer.
Claude Brewer? Question mark?
No.
No. Okay.
Well, hang on. I just saw something funny we're going to talk about here. Okay, so he made that Dolomite Is My Name movie.
Oh, that Eddie Murphy was
Yeah,
in it,
and then Coming to America.
Okay.
And then Footloose, that remake of that.
Okay, what a rando filmography that is.
So he made that movie Hustle and Flow in the 2000s.
Terrence Howard was in it.
Yeah, that said it won Best Original Song for It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp. He's 53 years old.
Okay, cool. What a guy.
Yeah.
This is what he's doing now?
He made a lot of documentaries, though. And he made Black Snake Moan also.
Oh, wow.
I feel like that's got to be at the top of the list of things he's done, but it's not even mentioned up here.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's probably the most known movie out of those. But, yeah, so this... okay. This movie is about these Neil Diamond tribute band called Lightning and Thunder. It also has Michael Imperioli in it, because I remember we were watching the trailer and we were like, oh, Michael Imperioli.
Yeah.
Ella Anderson, King Princess, Mustafa Shakir, who was in The Deuce. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Fisher Stevens, and Jim Belushi. And also Kate Hudson. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Wait, Jim Belushi, that's another movie he's in.
He's going to be the,
is he the
Paul
star?
Walter Hauser of the year.
Is he, is he going to win an award?
So that just seems totally insane of a movie. I have no idea what's going on.
Well, and
there.
also the trailer, it presents it like, oh, this is a triumphant story. And the whole time I'm thinking, this is so stupid.
Yeah, it's like, this
pathetic.
is stupid.
Like,
why
do
are
I
you
care?
doing a Neil Diamond? And I love Neil Diamond, actually. I like a lot of Neil Diamond stuff, but I'm like, why would I want to go see a Neil Diamond cover band? This is so stupid.
A movie about
Right.
a Neil Diamond
Yes,
cover band.
specifically,
I would rather
yeah.
go see a Neil Diamond cover band than see a movie about a guy in a Neil Diamond
Or just go
cover
see
band.
Neil Diamond.
Well, yeah. He's still alive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not that
Well, if
old.
he's
I don't
still
think.
tours.
He's in good shape, I think, for how old he is. He's 84. Never mind.
Well,
that's not that old though.
Wikipedia picture looks
compared to that was 2012, but still.
Oh well, I guess he's dead then, basically.
Well, no, I mean that was when that was the year he got married, so the third time.
So that's why he's happy in that picture.
I guess.
Yeah.
Marsha Murphy. I thought it said Michael Murphy after a second. I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Whoa.
All right. Then the last two here. I have a random amount to say about the second one.
Let's do that first.
More. Testament of Ann Lee.
Yeah.
This is that Mona Fast of Old movie that also Brady Corbet is writing. Aren't they like married?
Yeah, I don't know if they're married or they're partners.
Together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, I also heard something about Brady Corbet I have to talk about if it's true. Hang on.
It's about his new movie.
Yes. Did you hear about that?
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything on his Wikipedia page.
No, I'm not seeing anything yet. I'm going to see if I can look that up. But anyway, this movie...
It's about the Shakers movement.
Yeah, which I've always been randomly interested in.
Yeah.
I've never talked about it with anybody, but yeah, we'll come to the thing about Brady Corbet in a minute. But yeah, so this movie has Amanda Seyfried, Thomas and McKenzie, Lewis Pullman. Is he related to... Yeah, Bill Pullman's his father. Tim Blake Nelson, Christopher Abbott. That's randomly one of the best casts I can think of, of a movie I've seen in a while. Just one thing I want to say about this, it looks really interesting. I know that when it came out, I think it premiered at Venice. That I remember it got a really good Dave Ehrlich review, which if he gives a good review for something, then it's like no big
picky.
deal.
Yeah.
So, and I just love the way the movie looks visually. I want to talk a little bit, though, about the fact that this movie's coming out on 70mm IMAX. If you go and try to look up where it's going to be, they're doing a Christmas Day version of it, kind of like what they did with Nosferatu randomly.
Yeah.
Was that a Nosferatu an Annapurna movie? Or Searchlight Pictures movie?
What did do that? I thought Universal had something to do with that.
I'm looking. Let's see. Because I know that came out, similarly... no, that was Focus Features, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So never mind. But I was wondering if it was the same company was doing it. But I tried looking into, what would be the closest place this would be? No, I couldn't even find anything on it except for New York City. And it was like, see your availability. And it's like, and we kind of talked about this before. We talked about this with Sinners and...
One battle after
another, that it's like, it would be nice to care about the format if it came out anywhere other than what it already is.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just ridiculous.
I feel like, me and you did get to see years ago The Hateful Eight and Dunkirk on 70mm in Charlotte. Yeah. So that was the closest we've, for us, in IMAX.
Yes, I'm not saying it, but specifically in a time where distribution is the best it's ever been, actually.
Yeah.
I think that we're slowly going backwards again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know this is a real inside baseball, seeing it in this format kind of thing, but they're really promoting that it's something that everybody can go do.
Well, The Brutalist, of course, which is another Brady Corbet related thing, that heavily was promoted on that last year also.
And that didn't do that around here. I mean, that movie didn't even show here in Hickory. It was, out, we had to go to Asheville.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's not that far. But, that's just randomly getting really aggravating to me, the way that they're promoting these movies, go
it's
see it this
be
way
everywhere.
And it's no, it's not.
I'm not getting a plane ticket to go see a movie.
Well, it wasn't even in California anywhere. I'm talking, it was New York was the only thing I could find. It's probably going to be New York, London, and Sydney or something, and then that's going to be it. It's just really
Paris
stupid.
on a Tuesday,
Yeah. Born on a Monday, Solomon Grundy. Born on a Marty Supreme.
Marty Supreme.
Yes, Marty Supreme. Quiet Piggy. Have you seen that? We never talked about this.
No.
The fact that Trump literally said to a woman,
Quiet Piggy.
Quiet Piggy.
Yeah. Nobody's really talked about his face when he does it. He's kind of got almost a little smile or a grin on his face.
He knows it's funny.
Yeah.
No, listen, I've said this multiple times. You said this too. It really is a shame he went down this career path. He could have been a great comedian. He is hilarious.
Yeah.
And I say that as a well-known hater of Donald Trump. He is a hilarious person.
Yeah.
Even genuinely tries to be funny, and he's funny.
Yeah.
And I'm dang.
Yeah.
If only you weren't so autocratic, crazy person.
You know, if we lived back in the 90s, we would like be getting the like the Pizza Hut Marty Supreme pizza, you know, like a tie-in.
Like with Gorbachev on the...
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, yeah, so we didn't have anything more to say about Testament and Lease. We'll
I
talk about Marty
do want to
Supreme.
see that, though. Yeah.
Marty Supreme... I don't want to act like I'm not crazy about seeing this movie, but you are particularly, so I'll concede it to you.
This, to me, is the big white whale through the end of the year in terms of what it is. Everybody, a lot of people who have seen it is saying, wow, Timmy might actually win Best Actor with this year. This might be finally his time and his moment. The cast of this movie is pretty great. It's
just to say, it's Chalamet, Gwyneth Paltrow, Odessa Azion, Kevin O'Leary. We were just talking about him a while ago. Tyler Okonama, which is, of course, Tyler the Creator. Abel Ferrara as Ezra Mauser Mishkin, Marty's stepfather. Fran Drescher, Sandra Bernhardt. Let's see if there's anybody else. Ted Williams. Man with the golden voice. The man with the golden voice is in this movie. Can you believe that? You remember him? The man with the golden voice.
Who is that again?
He was that, like, homeless guy who became that radio personality because he had that really good voice. He was like been MIA for years. I didn't know what.
Safety movie.
Right, Emery Cohen. Oh my God,
you die.
David Mamet. Screw him. Levon Hawk.
Yeah,
he was named after Levon Helm.
Okay.
We can't forget. But Penn Jillette. Ronald Bronstein as voice of Blarney Stone Phone.
Did you say Abel Ferrara too?
I said that.
Okay.
Yeah, and Haley Gates. Anyway, big amount of people in this. Fran Drescher, I think I said, but that's funny.
But one thing that is a random thing that I'm excited about it is that apparently it's got like a mostly 80s soundtrack.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah,
and I'm like, I think there was there would have been a past version of me that would have been like, no, you gotta have 1940s music, or it's
I think
not
it's in
real,
the 50s.
Whatever it is, 40s, 50s.
Right.
It's not real or all thing. Now I'm like, no, you know what? Like everybody wants to rule the world's in the new trailer.
Yes,
it's like literally one of the
right.
greatest songs of all time. So it's just like, yeah, do it. Who cares?
Yeah.
And then I love that they had all this more that song in the newest trailer, but then it did have like a 40s, 50s era song that at the end of the new trailer,
him and Tyler Creator
are like dancing around out of their car. And I don't know. I know Timothy Chalamet is your biological son and all that.
Yeah.
But
I haven't talked about that in a while, but he still is. So I just want to say.
But like he is very important and valuable right now to the film culture. I feel like he's actually throwing his heart and his soul into promoting his movies in these weird, interesting ways.
Just in time for Christmas.
Plus, it just seems like we don't really have a big, fat, hairy Oscar contender at Christmas this year. Because Testament and Lee, this has nothing to do with the quality of the movie itself. It's not going to be one of those like A++ Oscar contender movies. This feels like it's entering the chat with Hamnet and One Battle After Another in terms of being one of the biggest movies of the year in terms of critically. So, yeah, just sign me up. I mean, I really like the Safdies in general.
We're going to talk about one of them here in a second.
I know Benny Safdie's obviously he's came out with the Smashing Machine, which was to me a shocking flop. I'm honestly surprised that movie, and I know we didn't see it, but like was not successful though. Like considering it's an MMA movie.
Yeah, I mean there's so many people that are into UFC and MMA and even WWE with The Rock.
Yeah, right.
Just fighting blood sport in general, you would think more people would be into going and seeing that. I don't know. That just didn't make any sense.
So I do actually want to eventually watch that. But anyway, so Josh Safdie's like the other Safdie brother. This is his movie, so I'm just
and I don't expect this movie to make a lot of money.
No, I don't think it'll be.
But it'll make a little bit. But
does it have a listed budget on there?
60 to 70 million. It looks like it.
Yeah.
I mean, randomly, A Song Sung Blue is going to make a random amount of money amongst the blue hairs and the blue plate special folks. And then Anaconda.
Should we go see it just because?
What, Song Sung Blue? I'm not stepping foot in a theater that has that on the screen. I can tell you that right now. Get the hell away from me.
This part of me wants to do it just as a joke, but I don't know. No.
But yeah, no. For me, with the Marty Supreme stuff, it seems like a movie. This is what I love about it. It's so out of nowhere. Like, what is this? And I mean that in a good way. Like, a movie about a table tennis star in the 50s that has 80s music in it, and the font for the title is like that 1990s like Get Shorty font.
Well, and also it's got the little pictures of the cast members in it.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, but specifically the 1990 like Get Shorty book font.
Yeah.
But like stretched out.
Yeah.
Just a really weird whole production.
Did you hear? I recently heard that like Chalamet for the last so many years for his other movies, I think going back to even like Little Women, like would bring table tennis tables to the sets of the movies, and he was like constantly like playing them on the set of those other movies to prep for this movie.
That he had known that was going to happen.
They had been developing it for like
that long,
and that he had been
because
working on it.
He's clearly doing it in the trailers, like yeah. And then it looks like the end of the movie turns into Babylon at some point, where it's like the criminals get involved or something.
It's a Safdie's movie, so
right.
yeah.
I mean, in its own way, and then the Kevin O'Leary aspect of the movie, it screams Raging Bull.
Yes.
As far as like some aspects of like that stuff.
Also,
in that
like this movie is inspired for me. One of my favorite random memes I've seen in a while, where people are like, it does like people are like, actually Kevin O'Leary's pretty good, or the outrage of people that Kevin O'Leary's in this movie, which who cares like at all. But like the like, oh wow, like totally slept on the idea, or like totally surprised that Kevin O'Leary's good, and then somebody quote tweeted it with a picture of him from the movie, and it's like, when people sleep on you, tuck them in.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Which reminds me of, I'm going to get you immediate criticism on this, so you don't have to keep making new things, because I'm going to tuck you in tonight, don't I?
Yeah.
Like,
But anyways, I'm all
co-written
in.
with Ronald Bronstein, who
his wife just did that. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Directed that,
and this is officially kind of based on Marty Reisman, who was a table tennis guy.
Yeah.
But he's called Marty Mauser.
Wait, what's all the genres that's got up there at the top?
A sports comedy drama adventure film.
Adventure. Okay.
Yeah. Josh Safdie, one of the weirdest looking people ever. Just an interesting looking fellow.
Yeah.
But I'll talk about the Brady Corbet thing real quick, and then we need to talk about Smashing Machine so we can actually get to our movie today.
Yeah.
So apparently it got confirmed that he was making a movie that was a 70s set horror western that will have a looser style, but will once again tackle the immigration process, this time from China to California. And it's going to be, he said, mentioned he inspired right after watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Most notably, he's shooting this one on a very rare 8 perforated 65mm cameras. Said large format film. Talked about same length as The Brutalist, which is 3 hours and 35 minutes. Literally what? But it says mainly takes place in the 70s, but also spans 150 years.
I was going to say, I heard that also.
And somebody said, is he making a vampire movie?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It definitely sounds like
and it's going to be NC-17. That's the other thing. Anything else? It
literally just sounds like this analogy's abused at this point now, but like throw in a bunch of things into the AI, Chat GPT, and just see what it comes up with. And I'm not saying that's what he's doing, but just like just slamming together all these concepts. Yeah. I'm sure it's coming from this very specific idea that he has.
Right.
Okay, sure. I'll go see that.
What I thought was crazy about it, though, when I saw the headline on Facebook. Facebook is notorious for obviously having all this like fake news and AI generated crap. So I was like, oh, that sounds made up. This can't be a real thing. And then I haven't looked about it since then. So when I just brought it up, I specifically just now looked and I was like, yep, that is true apparently.
Yeah.
So
I'll see that. I've been wanting to rewatch.
NC-17.
I've been wanting to rewatch The Brutalist since it came out.
Yeah, Mickey NC-17.
Did you see that again?
Mickey 17?
No, The Brutalist.
Oh, if I watched it again, no. I've got the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
But I've been wanting Mom and Dad to watch it. but it's going to be kind of tough to get through the section where he
was raped by
what's his
Guy
name?
Pearce
Guy Pearce
character?
gets his thing on.
Yeah.
Was that not literally one of the most shocking scenes in any movie when like oh Lord, what's her name that plays his wife? She was in Rogue One. I feel terrible not remembering her name, but she's only been in a few things. Where she just like walks in his house and's like, your husband raped my husband, like, and just like what?
Felicity Jones.
I'm sorry, what? Felicity Jones. Yeah, just can you believe that actually happened though? It's like you think, oh, she's just gonna go talk to him about something, or ask him for some money, and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, you literally raped my husband. Yeah, and it's like, what? And then he disappears.
Never forget the shocking ending to that whole movie
of the soundtrack choice.
Or just like it just jumps ahead and what it's all of a
people
sudden
have been
kind
using that picture of him at the end of like in the when he's like old is like a joke. Yeah. All right, before we move to Point Blank, we got to talk about the smashing machine scene.
Oh, so Levi made me aware, I was not at all aware of this, of a deleted scene that had dropped of the smashing machine. It's basically a scene of The Rock's character like wanting to go to like a fast food joint and like and him like wants to walk in the door, but they won't let him in for whatever reason because there's like another guy who's
and just to be clear, that's that movie that's about Mark Kerr, the MMA fighter he's playing.
MMA fighter.
Yeah.
And so then he like has to go back out and walk through the drive-through, which they're all mad about and like, oh, this is so dangerous. You can't be doing this. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, but I don't want to get back in my car, which is right there. But I don't want to like get back in my car and drive through. So okay, fine, and then get it. And it's I don't know how you came across this, but
it was Benny Safdie posted it on Instagram, and then it's on YouTube now. But
so it just was like made me want to see the movie more, but also it was just like,
well, it's not
I
in the
totally
movie,
understand
why.
Also, I get why this wasn't in it because it's just so. But anyways, there's this guy that's like in the restaurant who has these massive.
And why is he in the restaurant if it's
that's
closed?
What I was saying. Like, it doesn't make sense that they were not letting him in. He's standing there like he's going to get his order. I don't understand.
Maybe they saw how large his arms and his hands were, and they were like, "We got to let him in."
But yeah, he looks like he's like wearing the Hulk,
arms or whatever,
or whatever.
But I said that's literally the most like Safdie brothers character ever. Is hilarious. But no, like what I really love about that scene is just like the nonchalance of it, and that he's like driving an old Toyota SUV.
I've seen some other clips from the movie, and that's generally the vibe of the whole movie. Is it kind of has that feel and look to it,
which I love that. Yeah. So maybe I'd love the movie. I don't know, but that it's like, and that he's like wearing the white shirt, and he's very 90s looking, you know, and he like walks up and he's like, can I have a he has that kind of voice. It's so weird, like
it's hard
with
to
a medium fry
other than
and
it looking like
a diet Sprite, like and then she's like, dude, what the F, like she literally says the F word. He's like, and then I love he gives her a 20. He's like, keep the change. She's like, oh well, there's that, I guess. It's like, the whole scene is so hilarious to me. I'm like, and it's only like 2 minutes worth of a scene, but it's just like, and then even the fact that when he gets there, he's standing there for a second and nothing's happening because there's no car, so the motion activation hasn't gone on. And then he like jumps up and down and waves, like the whole thing's just like, what?
And it's
like,
weird to talk about this movie that we haven't seen like this, but it is one of those things that like, even I know we didn't see it and it didn't do all that well, but I hope that The Rock goes more in this direction to do stuff like that as opposed to just playing Maui in the live action remake of Moana, which I don't know, we don't need to talk about that, I guess, but like that also has happened in the intervening time since we've been on here. Did you happen to see that at all? Did Entertainment Tonight show that? And did you see that? The trailer of the new Moana live, quote unquote live action. It looks as freaking animated as anything I've ever seen.
I didn't even know that came out. That there was a trailer. No, I haven't been.
But anyways, I hope The Rock and it seems like he's even said some stuff like, I know this movie has not done well, but I actually think we made something that was good, and I want to keep trying to make things like this. So
I mean, what I appreciated about it was that he was, for lack of a better term, a
stone cold
crackhead. He was, in his own way, just for lack of a better term, a fighter, blood sport type of, doing wrestling and like, that him playing a different version of that, of like somebody who's actually like an MMA fighter, and I don't know, I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. But it seems like he put on an actual performance.
Yeah.
I mean, can I get a medium fry and a
Yeah.
Where's he from? Let's see where Mark Kerr's from. It's funny. You look up his picture.
You know that whole thing's like based on a documentary that
Toledo, Ohio.
that everybody thinks is actually pretty great.
Yeah, I've
and
heard
it's
that.
like
That's
that.
good.
It's just kind of that was one of the criticisms I heard about the movie. The new one was that it was kind of a 1-to-1.
Well, a lot of people say that about
adaptation
that
of
Welcome to Marwin movie. You've seen that.
That
where
was
it
pretty good. The documentary
right.
was, yeah.
And then they just made that remake, and it's like. And then didn't the movie, the movie version of it, the adaptation, didn't that just like cut out all the stuff that he was like a transvestite or whatever?
I
or
heard
like trans person or something.
Well, he like cross dressing was the big thing.
Or no, that's what I mean.
I did not see the Steve Carell version. I heard that stuff was
Zemeckis.
de-emphasized, but I have not seen it, so I don't know to what extent that's true. But that was kind of a big part of.
Just gonna throw that back out there here.
Yeah. Well, Levi's kind of making fun of me about this, but.
I love the ending of that movie.
Like, there's a
Not
weird
just
part
because
of
it's
me
over.
that's like kind of looks at the slate of these movies, and I know this sounds so random, but it's like there's no here. It's like that kind of fall movie that had, I don't know. There's part of me that's weirdly already nostalgic for here, and I know that sounds so.
So you
random,
want to see more
but
movies that are about the guy that created Lazy Boy? Is what you're telling me?
Yeah, why not? I mean, have Benny Safdie do that one,
Can I get a Lazy Boy to sit in? That's my new voice. I'm gonna just throw out there.
Can you imagine all the Safdie character actors that could come in and sit in the Lazy Boys and have thoughts and critiques on them?
I can't get up out of this
like
thing.
Abel Ferrara being one of them.
Like,
Like,
I want to steal it. Yeah.
you already know he's going to be on one, and Marty
God
Supreme.
Almighty.
He makes it in the trailer.
He's
at
the
one
stepfather, so
point. Yeah, so
that's another level of like. I hope he does. I hope he channels Dominic Chianese in. Or no, is that his name? Who's the guy that's Junior? Is that Dominic Chianese? Yeah, that he's in his role in Dog Day Afternoon.
By the way.
Yeah, his role in Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah.
Which is like one or two scenes. He's barely in it, but he's just like sitting there the whole time shaking his head like, oh, this is so effed up.
You remember
like,
Abel Ferrara and Daddy Longlegs? You remember him?
Yeah,
in
he
that?
like robs Ronald Bronstein or whatever.
Yeah, he's like this.
yeah, give me your money. Yeah. And he's like got his gun in his pocket or whatever. Yeah. Like total POS. He's like, and he looks pretty much the same now as he did then. That's what's weird. I mean, I know that wasn't that long ago, but like, yeah.
Anyways, speaking
Go
of
watch
scumbags,
the Smashing Machine. Maybe
Yeah.
I'd like to at this
Speaking
point.
of scumbags, here is the trailer for Point Blank.
Walker is an emotional and primitive man.
Do you remember when we met? Suddenly, we were together.
Lee Marvin is Walker, the hunter and the hunted.
Who the hell are you anyway? My name's Walker. Are you crazy?
You ever meet Walker?
He makes my flesh crawl.
What do you really want?
I really want my money. I want my 93 grand.
I want my money.
Even deserted Alcatraz Island is not immune to Walker's vengeance.
You're a very bad man, Walker, a very destructive man. Why do you run around doing things like this?
Feel the blast of emotions at point-blank range.
What do you want from me, Walker? You're supposed to be dead.
know the mental agony that overwhelms and consumes at point-blank range. Experience rapid-fire action at point-blank range.
Things aren't done this way anymore, Walker. Let's be reasonable.
Point blank range, as the trailer told us.
Well, when you were looking up this movie a while ago, you said you were typing in point blank and it said range.
Range was the first thing that came down. Yeah. And I was like, no, of course.
What about Gross Point Blank, which has the, I'm going to put a bullet in F and forehead. I'm going to F the brain hole. But anyway.
Your boy.
Yeah. Anyway, no. By the way, Dan Aykroyd is not my boy.
All right, Levi, tell us a little bit about Point Blank.
So Point Blank is a 1967 American crime film directed by John Boorman, starring Lee Marvin, co-starring Angie Dickinson, Keenan Wynn, and Carol O'Connor. Also, it doesn't mention, but John Vernon and Sharon Acker. It is adapted from the 1962 crime noir pulp novel The Hunter, which is the first in the Parker series of crime novels, written by Donald E. Westlake as Richard Stark. His nom de plume. Boorman directed the film at Marvin's request, and Marvin played a central role in the film's development. It grossed more than $9 million in theatrical rentals in 1967, and since then has gone on to become a cult classic, listing praise from such critics as film historian David Thompson. Because this movie was made for $2.5 million. It made $9 million. I'm actually surprised it was made for even $2.5 million. You'd think it'd be even a little less then. This movie essentially is, what's interesting to me is, you've had so many of these Parker movies have been made. And if you actually go look at the list of people who have played him, have you ever looked at this?
No.
Okay, get ready. This is quite a wild group.
Okay.
Here. Lee Marvin in this.
By the way, this is the first one made? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Jim Brown.
What was that?
The Split.
Okay.
With, trying to see who all's in this. Hang on. Gordon Fleming directed it. But Diana Carroll, Julie Harris, Ernest Borgnine, Jack Klugman, Warren Oates, Donald Sutherland, and Gene Hackman. Music by Quincy Jones.
Wow.
That's a wild group right there.
It is.
This came out literally a year after this, by the way. So it's 68.
Yeah.
So that's, Robert Duvall.
Okay.
Interesting. That was the one thing I was going to talk about, is that Robert Duvall is related to both of the, this. Peter Coyote in Slayground. Robert Duvall's in The Outfit.
Right.
Mel Gibson in the movie Payback. I actually never knew that Payback was
I did know that was
that. Jason Statham, of course, famously in Parker.
Yeah.
And Mark Wahlberg in Play Dirty, which came out this year.
I don't think I knew that was officially a Parker movie. Okay.
Then, of course, you have something that needs to be mentioned, that this, oh Lord, what's it called? The Limey was not part of that, but was heavily inspired by
Grand Theft Auto 3 is also
was
actually inspired by
Grand Theft Auto 3, and then but the Limey was very much inspired by Point Blank, because I think even Point Blank, like, maybe Soderbergh's favorite movie.
It's up there. I know he's got a commentary he's done for it. It's up there for him, I know, yeah.
But anyway, but what I want to say about this movie from the beginning here, though, what I think is important to mention, is the fact that it is, all these other movies have been made, up after this.
Yeah.
And that this movie, it says, is based on The Hunter, and talking about that Walker is a, career criminal, or Parker. And sorry, they changed the name for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why.
That more or less this is, I think, a pretty direct adaptation of
as somebody
that book.
who, I've not read that book, but I have just this year read the Darwin Cook adaptation of the first book. The overall story is pretty 1-to-1, like
but that
of it.
my point of bringing that up is that it's interesting that these movies or these versions have been made. This one feels so apart from all of that in my mind, as far as just the style.
Yeah. I think that's what's made it such an endearing and enduring part of 60s cinema. I mean, you wrote on the little paper here of us what we're going to talk about in the outline. 60s movie of them all, ? And tell me what you mean by that, too, and how that style maybe relates to that.
I think that the 60s... I think that the movies of the 60s that are like this... I mean, I think of movies like this. Seconds comes to mind.
Yep.
Also, even George Roy Hill movies like Butch Cassidy, obviously. There just feels to me, and it's weird because they're less explicit technically than movies in the 70s.
Right.
But they feel more transgressive. They have this transgressive quality to them that is just unlike any of those other things. Whereas, like, you know, there were so many movies in the 60s of this time that were like, Old Dad, Poor Dad, Mom's Hung You in the Closet and I'm Feeling So Sad, or a real movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Or like The Last of Sheila, or I think actually that was in the 70s. I don't know. But, you know, there were a lot of those, like, or How I Won the War, all these movies that are very like, it's the 60s now.
There's Otto Preminger, some of his thrillers.
Like very like mainstream 60s movies that were starting to be like, oh, everything, like, honestly picking up more on what the Beats were doing than what hippie culture was doing exactly.
Right. Well, it was kind of contemporary to when the hippie culture was starting to take off more anyways, yeah.
Whereas this movie is so movies like this and Seconds, they're so ahead of their time, and yet no movies have really even attempted to, in a major direct way, replicate something like this.
This one has always also specifically made me think of the French New Wave and like Godard, and like in terms of, you know, because something like Breathless, as we know, this legendary movie that like was Godard's attempt to like tell like an American flavored crime story with this new style and this new sense of what story is and this new metatextual nature. And then this is it finally filtering back into the American movies of the time with something like this. Obviously, the director we mentioned here, John Boorman, he's British.
Yes.
Director, most famously for Deliverance, which came out in 1972, a few years later.
This was only his second movie, Point Blank, and literally right after that, the next year, he made that movie with Lee Marvin and Toshiro Mifune, Hell in the Pacific.
Oh, okay.
And then, he would go on to make Zardoz. I know that's a big cult favorite. A lot of people love. And then The Exorcist 2, The Heretic, randomly, and Excalibur. But he actually didn't have a really big career as far as like a lot of things. He just made Deliverance is obviously his biggest. Which we like.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But so when I think what you mean by most 60s movie, it's just the confluence of all the elements at one time just feels very...
Yeah, because
the story itself is very simple.
Yeah.
Simple to the point of being like... I think that's why these movies are like such catnip for different storytellers, is the story is so simple that then it's like, what do you bring to the table? And that's why like Darwin Cook's version of this is beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
An amazing art. I think... This is saying a lot of him. This is, I think, the best art that I ever saw from him.
And it's not even in color, is it? It's like black and white?
It's black and white, but it's like... it's like monochromatic. It's like, it's not full-fledged color. It's like, uses color in really inventive ways, I feel like. But anyways, these stories are so simple, they make for great stylistic experiments for whoever is coming to do it, you know?
Yeah, and I think that with this movie, and you're right about that, but I wouldn't ever have the balls to attempt to adapt something after this. And it's funny because it was the first one, and it's kind of like, we're still going to do that after this? Like, I don't know, just...
I guess weirdly, it was like, it felt so different from everything else that it gave people a license to go, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this more inferior model, which is what... I do think the Darwin Cook version is really pretty great, I will say. But it is like, even within the realm of comics, a more traditionally told thing than this is as a movie. And because this, imagine just like, again, like your dad in like the late 60s going like, he reads crime novels and he loves Lee Marvin. Lee Marvin, he's in some of those World War II movies, and he's like my age, and he's the greatest generation. And then he goes to see this. And this is just so like, this is a shotgun blast to the face. Like, it's just like, whoa. Like, it's just stylistically.
Well, literally the opening of the movie like starts halfway through the scene of him getting shot.
Yeah, that's another thing too. It's like it's like non-chronological, and it like I mean it eventually gets on a track and stays on it in terms of you understanding what the story is, but it starts in this very disorienting way.
Yeah.
Which I think is in keeping with the time period, but also just thrusts you into this, and the whole movie is in so many ways about our faded and broken memories of people being perverted by their own actions and how we remember, and it does it all in this weirdly like very straight streamlined story, but it's told with such an imaginative lens that I think this would have been like, for a random amount of people, probably the most experimental movie they would have seen in a theater at this particular time.
I think it's one of the more experimental movies of New Hollywood, even in its own way too.
Well, this would have been like very beginning era of New Hollywood, but certainly of that era. Yeah.
As far as like even movies like Easy Rider or Bonnie and Clyde are operating on almost future versions of movies that are already know. It's almost like they've seen the 70s movies of the future, and they're just already like, yep, we're just gonna do that.
Yeah.
Well, it feels like almost like a paradox more than what movies will become, whereas this don't even feel like that. It feels so outside of everything.
Why do you think I didn't really think about Bonnie and Clyde, but I think it's an interesting thing to mention that in this. Why do you think, like, what about Bonnie and Clyde has become even maybe more mainstream iconic compared to this movie? Is it the birthing of these new stars in Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, and their newness, and this whole idea of the youth of that era being transplanted onto a movie like that, versus this is like an angry, randomly greatest generation character who's like, this is a midlife crisis movie as opposed to like young love and violence movie.
Yeah, I mean,
guess,
it's
by
the
comparison.
fact that this movie is so isolating, and that isn't, in a strange ways, because it's about love, and in a way standing in coming out in 1967, this same year as this, the summer of love, and like how love was viewed as this dangerous thing but a free thing, and like, I think that the whole concept of that movie, and like just having two people that are in love, whereas like, and they're doing these things, and the movie has this kind of comedic bent to it, it's not a comedy, but like it has this kind of more happy-go-lucky feel to it,
which is part of its perversity.
And then that's upended by the ending of the movie too. I mean, where it's very directly like, no, that's not gonna work.
Versus this is just mean-spirited the whole time.
It's never normal ever. Everything it does is like the weirdest thing it can do. I mean, I think all the time about the scene where he takes the guy on the joyride and slams into the like bridge like columns or whatever, and it's just like, that's just so weird. Like, it's such a weird set piece. And even like the club scene where it's like the people screaming and he's fighting
that whole
them,
scene is like, to me, the most 60s thing, and I love it about the movie is just how it's cut, how chaotic the whole thing feels. Again, I'm trying to imagine people who would have saw this in drive-ins or like in theaters of that time period, like dads, not old men even exactly, but guys in their like 40s who are seeing this and going like, what? And feeling like this is something they've been trying to avoid, that look in that world, and then all of a sudden it's thrust upon them with a scene like that, and them thinking like, feeling like they can smell the marijuana smoke coming off of the screen.
I watched it with Mom and Dad, and that they were, that scene in particular, were like, oh my God, what is this? And like got kind of mad.
But
and
a movie
they were like,
that's
wanting it to be
almost
over.
60 years old.
Right.
that was a mainstream movie of that time still has that effect. Fascinating.
But no, I mean, going even back, like I said, to the beginning of the movie, I mean, it opens in media res in its own way of the setup, not of the movie itself, but like he just gets shot and it says point blank, and you're just like, what? Like, what is going on? Like, and the fact that I think also the movie doesn't play around with the concept like it does with Anton Chigurh exactly of like, is he literally a ghost? But the movie,
he is a ghostly type figure, not literally, but they're just reminding them the consequences of what they have.
And spoiler
wrought.
for the end of the movie, I mean, I'm assuming you have seen this if you're listening, but that he just disappears at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, he just literally basically disappears into thin air. And it's like, what even happened? Like, and so, and then even the opening credits of the movie are like really weird. Like, you got those shots of like the industrial, like, random close-up cinema verite of like what Alcatraz looks like, and it's just like but it's also in its own way, like I said, a 70s movie, and I don't know, it feels like to me the moment where he breaks in, the famous sequence where it's him walking and Walker, get it? Him walking and goes to his wife's or his girlfriend's house and goes in the bedroom and
steps, like sound,
and blasts the bed.
Yeah,
it feels just as violent as like the ending of Bonnie and Clyde, but no one is killed. Right. It's like, how do you even accomplish something to that level? I don't even like, as far as the level of like, I mean, the sound obviously goes with that, but it's a very loud movie, which is weird for a movie that's so pensive about itself. Too.
Yeah, that's quite an accomplishment that it can strike that tone while being so loud, like you said.
So yeah, I think that as far as the 60s movies go, this is kind of the one. I'd say this in seconds, as far as like really challenging even what would be New Hollywood, which it kind of fell into its own pattern eventually. Whereas, like, interestingly, I don't even know if you know this, you probably do, that there was a Breathless remake that had Richard Gere in it.
Yes,
and like
I forget about this every once in a while, and then remind me.
I've never seen that, but randomly, this feels almost like you mentioned it before, but this almost feels more like a Breathless remake than that does in its own way, as far as like, because that's a crime movie, too, and Breathless, and that it's very like just.
When did that come out? In the 80s, 70s?
Yeah, it's like the early 80s, I think. Let me look about that.
It just seems so like goes beyond belief of just sacrilegious, and I've not even seen Breathless tons and tons of times, but that's such a iconic movie that to remake it just seems so silly.
It's 83.
83.
Directed by Jim McBride, who basically didn't make any other movies other than Great Balls of Fire, that Dennis Quaid movie about Jerry Lee Lewis. That's pretty much it. He didn't do anything else. But
workless.
It's just careerless. I mean, I just think that this movie is like operating on levels that people can only even really dream of doing, and even if you do, it's like it's already been done. So it's kind of.
I do feel like this movie owes a lot to the star persona of Lee Marvin, who we can maybe talk a little bit about. Is he by this point played a lot of tough guy, bad guy parts.
Yeah.
I don't know about the exact chronology. I feel like this was probably among the first where he started to be more the like hero slash anti-heroic
the
lead.
Same year as The Dirty Dozen,
which is obviously huge movie of that.
And The Professionals was like a year before this that had Burt Lancaster in it, and also Robert Ryan and Woody Strode and Jack Palance, Ralph Bellamy, Claudia Cardinale. I have the I have the VHS of that. I haven't watched it yet. He was in Cat Ballou famously, as like two characters, I think, or something. And then he was in The Killers before all this too. It's a Don Siegel movie. but yeah, really, I mean, everybody kind of knows that, like, he had, notably been in,
Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about even before that. It was, what's the name? Well, The Big Heat he was in. I'd forgot that, but he was in The Wild One. Yeah. And I mean, I often think of The Wild One when I think of him as like one of his first movies. He was in and he was Bad Day at Black Rock.
He played again a lot of bad guy parts.
And I Died 1,000 Times. It's a great name. But I wanted to mention the fact that he was in a movie called Donovan's Reef, which is a John Wayne movie. So he was in a lot of John Wayne movies, obviously. Yeah, because literally, like, he was specifically in 61 through 63, The Comancheros, which was a John Wayne movie, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, obviously, and then Donovan's Reef. In Donovan's Reef, and that was another John Wayne movie, Thomas Aloysius Boats Gilhooly is his name in that movie.
Aloysius?
Yeah.
Wow.
Thomas Aloysius Boats Gilhooly. And then The Killers, which was actually randomly an adaptation of the Ernest Hemingway short story,
right? Which
had also been made into a movie that had Burt Lancaster.
I've seen that one.
That was a Chris Sidemak movie, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of like a weird foil to a lot of Burt Lancaster roles. It seems like, or in a random amount, or in versions of other things that had Burt Lancaster.
Do you think that's because like it depends on the Burt Lancaster movie, but like Burt Lancaster, he represented sometimes this more like earnest, righteous hero, and then the Lee Marvin type was more of like he was a smart guy. He was a bad guy with a smarm and a self-awareness of his own badness, and that those things played together. And then here he is, like he's not he's the hero of the movie, but he's really more of obviously an anti-hero, who is. It's really like I think one of my criticisms of not only this movie, if I had to have one, but of the story in general, and I've seen it with the Darwin Cook version, is I feel like the movie loses some of its emotional heft early on once it goes into, it's all part of this larger corporate hierarchy, and let me just go about like sticking it to them. Like I thought the same thing about the Cook adaptation that I read was. I just feel like part of the story gets a little buried, the verve that comes with the revenge, when it's like, actually, I'm going to take on this corporation now, and it's kind of got all these nameless, faceless people that I also have to contend with.
I do think that what justifies that by the end of the movie is the fact that he just leaves and doesn't even kill. I mean, spoiler: Keenan Wynn is like secretly the bad guy the whole time. That feels kind of stupid too.
Yeah.
But then he's just like, whatever.
It's hard for me to see him in a part like this when I think of him as the like kindly oldish man in Nashville.
Yeah.
It's like
or as Colonel Bat Guano and Dr. Strangelove.
I forget he's even in that. Yeah. But I was just like, it's almost I didn't take him quite seriously in this movie because I was thinking about him in Nashville and what a nice, sweet old man he seems like he is in that by that point. But I don't know. I thought that was a criticism of the other version I saw too, not necessarily of the movie. But John Vernon does play a pretty great bad guy. I think
we haven't mentioned him. Yeah, exactly. Is that he's not even the main bad guy, but he's like his nemesis. John Vernon is great in literally everything I've ever seen him in. He's randomly one of those people, like, if you have John Vernon in your movie, he's kind of like John Getz, where, like, your movie's already just automatically better because he's in it. Of course, John Vernon most famously was in Animal House. That's probably what most people remember him from, as well as Dirty Harry.
I was going to say Dirty Harry.
And then he was in The Outlaw Josie Wales also. And then I think he was randomly in... he was in that Charlie Varick movie, that Don Siegel movie, Walter Matthau. And then the other big thing everybody knows him from, of course, is he's randomly in that movie A Special Day with Marcello Mastroianni in it.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Know what I'm talking about? It's so random to me, but Everybody really remembers him, though, especially from being the voice of Rupert Thorne in Batman the Animated Series.
Yes.
And so, yeah, but he's always great in everything.
By the way, it said he was like 4 different roles on Mission Impossible, the TV show.
Wow.
I'm going to tell you the names. You tell me which one of your favorite names is. Colonel Joseph Strom, Joseph Josef.
All right.
General Raymond Sabatini, Ramon Fuego, and Norman Shields.
You got to go with Ramon Fuego.
Yeah.
Let's get better than that. He was randomly Shao Kahn in the Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm animated series.
He was also in 1969 a movie called Tell Them Willie Boy Is Here, which is
I forgot
60s
that. I have heard of that. He was on Pinky
Robert
and the
Redford.
Brain as Admiral in the episode Das Mouse. He played Doctor Doom on that Fantastic Four show.
Oh, it'd been perfect for that.
Yes, I mean, he's done so much random amount of voice work because he's just got a great voice.
Yeah.
He was apparently on the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, which you might barely remember.
I didn't know. I remember that.
That he was Dean Toadblatt.
So he voiced Doctor Strange on an episode of Spider-Man the Animated Series.
But anyway, yeah, he's great in pretty much everything.
He was even in the sitcom Dinosaurs. At least did a
really?
voice.
Oh, yeah, I see that. Mr. Ashland episode, Power Erupts. We need to get to the bottom of this. Did dinosaurs really end the way that people talk about?
I think so. I think so, yeah.
I've always been so confused by that.
I've always wanted to go back and watch that show, actually.
It seems really annoying. Specifically the I'm the baby.
Well, I've heard it totally ripped off The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was on the same time as The Simpsons.
Well, there's even a Simpsons episode that parodies, and I remember seeing this, like a parodies dinosaurs about they're watching like a sitcom about a dinosaur family. It's very clearly like a jab at that or whatever. But yeah.
But anyway, yeah. And then this movie also has Carol O'Connor, who's most famous as Archie Bunker.
I remember him being more in this than
he's only really at the end.
Yeah, but he has a very memorable scene. You're a very bad man.
Yeah, you're a very bad man. Why are you walking around acting like this? Like it's almost like
it reminds me of this kid in my 4th period I have right now. That was specifically the way you just did that line reading. Reminds me of the way this one kid sounds.
When the mother in that was Lorraine Bracco's mother in Goodfellas is like, normal people don't act like this. Like, you know. This movie randomly has Sid Haig in it. I don't know if you've known that.
Where was
so you remember there was that guy that was like the doorman of the big building that he goes into? He's like that guy.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll look up his picture and you'll be like, oh yeah, that is Sid Haig. But he like don't look like himself, obviously.
Okay.
Let me look, but he's basically like uncredited anyway.
Okay.
Like, this guy, you can't see it real well, but.
Oh, okay.
I
can't see it. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not barely in it, but. So
this movie just again feels like such an anomaly of the action cinema that was in existence at this time.
Yeah.
What do you think is like the larger legacy of that something like this leaves? Is it just that you can take a pretty bare bones plot and do something pretty odd or off, off the wall version of it? In terms of a fairly simple story.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
And then it's maybe opening the door, like you said, to these other maybe new Hollywood flourishes or things.
Well, the movie made a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's what's interesting, too, is that I'm like, well, how do people feel about this? Like, I'm just very confused, like, about the fact that, obviously, it made money, and it's because of the Lee Marvin movie, but that he was just becoming a bigger version of himself, too. So it's kind of like, well, this ain't like it was a Charlie Chaplin movie or something, where people are like, oh, I'm going to go see this. It was like, oh, Lee Marvin. Yeah, I know who Lee Marvin is.
Right.
Like, but it wasn't like he was a big, big star or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's very, just a very weird movie in a lot of ways. Not only because of its weirdness in and of itself, but that it's willing to do the things it does and then be like, yeah, this is like made money and is like a mainstream movie. What do you think of this is kind of going backwards a little bit, talking more about the movie, but the Angie Dickinson role in this movie.
I do think that's. I actually think her performance is pretty good and memorable. I do think that is a. And again, that character was basically in the Darwin Cook version too that I read. That is just screams to me like we need a female
sister, right?
Yeah, we need like a female co-lead / maybe love interest, which the movie kind of flirts with. We've said this about plenty of other roles with women. A thankless part. If anything, I think this story would actually be even more interesting if it was more literally from her perspective, the same events going on, and she's kind of stuck in the middle of dealing with this situation, which is something we're going to talk about, I feel like, with Widows in terms of how it turns the premise on its head. But, yeah, I mean, I think she's pretty good in the movie, but it's just... and again, the original source material was like this too, I believe. It's just like, we need a female character here. Like, I don't think there's a whole lot of thought put into that character, unfortunately. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I think that it does feel like that's this movie's version of trying to be mainstream. Is making it about the love angle, not only with his original like wife, but because they were married. I couldn't remember. See, that's how funny the movie is. Like, it doesn't really care about that detail. I really love that shot in the movie, by the way, where it's like them three in the car and John Vernon's driving and they're like switching the sunglasses back and forth.
Yeah. That felt kind of Jules and Jim to me too.
Yeah.
Like there's part of that we mentioned more Godard than Truffaut, but that was something.
Or Band of Outsiders too.
Yes,
kind of is very similar.
Yeah, that's more Godard,
And so I didn't even think about that until you said that. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, because that feels like obviously that's not what happened in the Bonnie and Clyde like lifestyle that we know. But like that doesn't ever happen in Bonnie and Clyde. It's very much them two rather than like a triangle of sorts with like Gene Hackman or whatever, or even that one guy. What's his name? You know, that
I'll
was
look it up real quick. Yeah,
he's like one of the ugliest looking people ever. It was like G.W. or I don't know.
Michael J. Pollard.
But who's his character?
C.W. Moss.
C.W. Moss.
Character's
Yeah.
name, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to mention that because I feel like that's a part of the movie that is both important and yet not interesting to anyone, not even to us. But like, I think it's interesting too that he's like, I want my $93,000, and how it's like, you know, implying like, or kind of the theme of that is he's like, I only want what was taken from me, but then by the end doesn't even take it with him.
Right.
And it's kind of, I don't think it's a pointless ending because it's so commanding.
Do you think it just speaks to the hollowness of what the whole endeavor of revenge is?
Well, I don't even think it matters. I mean, I don't even think it matters in terms of like a meaning, so much as it's just a great ending, like, you know, and so sometimes you have to be willing. I think this is something where people get too caught up in the plots of movies. You have to be willing to let an ending do what it wants to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't even matter that he doesn't take the money. There's not anything I take from that, or, you know, like, I mean, I think you're right. I think that's kind of what the movie is inherently trying to say, is like that he really just wanted the people dead, is what it is.
Yeah.
But I also think, to him, when he sees the fact that Keenan Wynn reveals himself to be who he is and that everybody else is dead, to him, he's like, oh, I've been played by him. The next way to be played by him is to just take the money, so I'm not going to do it, and he just leaves. Like, you know, and so, and also that, you know, goes to the whole idea of, like, maybe he literally isn't even a human being. Like, you know.
Well, that speaks to Alcatraz being like this... almost like it plays this role of like this hollow, haunting cemetery in the movie in terms of just this kind of the movie begins there and ends there too.
Well, what was the deal with Alcatraz at this time, by the way? Like, in San Francisco was in a lot of movies around this time too. I mean, but just like Alcatraz in general was just like all the time being used in stuff. Because around this time especially. It was in this. It was in Birdman of Alcatraz, of course.
Yeah.
It was in Escape from Alcatraz. And then just the fact, I know you're kind of aware of this, I guess, the Red Power movement.
Yes.
And, like, that they occupied Alcatraz for a while. Like, it just seemed like a lot was going on.
Well, I was just looking here, too, because I was like, when did
Yeah.
the prison close? It closed on March 21st, 1963. So there was probably all this, like, interest and almost weird nostalgia or obsession with that as a place and what it represented back in the, like, the 30s in terms of, like, oh, that's where Al Capone went. That's where all these hardened criminals went. And, like...
Because it really is, like, impossible to get out to and get back from.
Right. I think it was that, like, there's probably a weird romanticism of its remoteness and its iconic status was what
and I think
people were responding to.
It's interesting that in the movie it's being used as a drop-off point for drug deals or money deals or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And that I think that's another thing that makes the question mark of him so interesting is it's like, well, did he make it out? Like, was he able to swim that far? Like, you know, and so... Yeah, and then the fact he just kind of disappears into the movie, you know, I think that adds to it.
Yeah.
But,
well, it's like you said, I'm a little baffled by why other filmmakers would want to even approach this material when this is just such a raw, like, specific version of the story. But I think, like I said, too, I guess other filmmakers are just, or actors, too, just like, this is so bare bones and simple. I think I can do my own little version of this story. But,
yeah.
You have anything else to say about?
No, I mean, I think that's fine that people make movies out of this. It's just I wouldn't do it after that because it's just funny to me that like the biggest, like the first version of this big thing is so out there gonzo crazy that it's like it almost ruins everything else after it. You know, it's like, but whatever. Great movie. I mean, it's a movie that, honestly, I feel like I wish I had more to say about than we've even said. I feel like we've said enough about it, but that it just speaks for itself. It's just such a unruly and dreamlike movie. It's very strange.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that it like you said, it just sits at the crossroads of all these various things that were going on in the film culture, not only in America but around the world. And I think it'll always be a timestamp for that.
Well, before we move on, what's your favorite scene?
Favorite scene. I'll let you go first because
I think mine is a random one. Is that it's the one where like him and Angie Dickinson are waiting in Carol O'Connor's house, and she gets mad at him because obviously she's kind of like thinking, oh, maybe there's something to this, this relationship, and he's like, nah, I don't care about any of that. And then there's that part where she's like slapping him and pushing him, and he's just standing there. Yeah. And then he just goes and sits down and turns on the TV. Yeah. That's such a literal 60s man, like, well, anyway. And then she like goes into the other room and turns on all these loud like stuff in the kitchen, and he has to go in there and unplug all of it. It's just very funny.
I remember probably one of my favorite scenes is when he like goes to the car lot and he's going to interrogate that one guy about his connection to everything, and the guy's so distracted and not really paying attention to anything he's doing, and he's like, all right, let's go for a test drive, and then he's just like wrecks the car totally. He definitely gets his attention by then. But
he's like, "Where's Reese?"
Yeah,
he's like, "Where's the Reese's?" As well. Basically, switch that to that. They should honestly take that and make it. If they had the balls, they would take that and make that into a Reese's ad now. But and we'll have Will Forte do the voice, like, or not Will Forte. What's his name? Will Arnett do the voice,
or either one.
Yeah, Will Forte. I'm the guy that's gonna kill your kids.
I'm the guy that wants the Reese's.
Can I get a Reese's and a medium fry? Anyway, that's that.
Speaking of medium fries, I'm just trying to think how to transition. Speaking of great movies,
speaking of value meals.
Here is the trailer for Widows.
You have no idea, do you? Or did you choose not to know? Your husband stole $2 million from me. This is about my life. This is about my life. And because it's about my life, it now becomes about yours.
Something happened tonight, something bad. Mr. Mulligan, your family's been involved in Harry's life for many years. I need help.
I don't see what I can do.
Our husbands aren't coming back. We're on our own. My husband left me the plans for his next job. All I need is a crew to pull it off.
Why should we trust you anyway?
Because I'm the only one standing between you and a bullet in your head.
That's what I've learned from men like your late husband and my father, is that you reap what you sow.
Let's hope so. This is for guns.
Guns? From where?
Figure it out.
If this whole thing goes wrong, I want my kids to know that I didn't just sit there and take it. I did something.
Now, the best thing we have going for us is being who we are.
Why?
Because no one thinks we have the balls to pull this off.
And so, Widows, a 2018 neo-noir heist thriller film, directed by Steve McQueen, from a screenplay by Gillian Flynn and McQueen, based upon the 1983 British television series of the same name. Plot follows 4 Chicago women who attempt to steal $5 million from the home of a prominent local politician in order to pay back a crime boss missing money stolen by the woman's husbands before they were killed in a botched getaway attempt. The movie stars, I think, one of the great modern casts. I'll just go ahead and say this now. Viola Davis, Michelle Rodriguez, Elizabeth Debicki. I love it says in the title roles, like they are the titular widows. Alongside Cynthia Erivo. In her film debut, Wicked for Good, Colin Farrell, Brian Tyree Henry, Daniel Kaluuya, Jackie Weaver, Carrie Coon, Robert Duvall, and Liam Neeson. No love for our boy, member of the Immune, Kevin J. O'Connor, by the way.
Yeah,
don't forget.
That's aggravating. Something needs to be done. Again,
this movie came out, as we've said, November 16th, 2018. Very well liked. It had a $42 million budget. It made $76 million, so it was marginally successful. One place to randomly start here is I've totally forgotten Gillian Flynn's involvement in this movie, and I was like, oh, screenplay by, and I'd totally forgotten about that. There was a time back when like Gone Girl came out, and then Sharp Objects, the TV show version we saw. I know I've not read her novel version. The show came out in 2018, so like the same year as this, where she was like one of the hottest names in like that whole like literary / film world of like her books being this hugely adapted things. I don't know what's happened in recent years, and maybe nothing's happened.
Well, because then you had
just had a moment.
She was one of those like
she actually has not come out with a book since Gone Girl, as far as her fiction.
Yeah, I mean, because like not all to denigrate this, but I mean, she's one of those like female thriller writers, and you know, and you get like you had The Woman in the Window. Kind of being a version of that. That was written by a woman, right? Or was that written by a man? I might have been written by a man. But you have a lot of those types of movies around this time where they get turned into
A.J. Finn, who was a woman in the window, was a man. But
okay. Well, anyway, a lot of those movies get turned into, for lack of a better term, chick flick versions of these things. None of which her things feel like. I mean, obviously, like the Sharp Objects is randomly going to have more of like a female audience than a male audience. And Gone Girl, not really exactly, although sort of. This kind of does by nature of what it's about, which is something to talk about because the movie, I think, in certain ways, and we kind of talked about this earlier, doesn't know exactly what it wants to be.
Yeah.
And I think the movie's better for that.
No, yes, I agree.
But
it makes it just naturally a little more
wonky.
flawed than it might
Right.
otherwise be. But I also love that about it.
No, but I was thinking about that too because I was like, oh, Gillian Flynn, I haven't heard about her in a long time.
Yeah.
And have always more or less liked to love things that have come out of her oeuvre.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, we only saw it once the whole way through, but Sharp Objects was
good.
very memorable, and
I still remember
some of
a
the
lot
great
of things about
Amy Adams screams of all time. You know,
yeah. In the that's what I think of every time I go into a changing room. Mainly just because I have to try on clothes, which I hate doing. I hate shopping for clothes and shoes. It's like my least favorite thing. I'm like, I want to do anything other than this right now. Whereas you put me
much rather watch Widows right now.
Right.
That you're thinking about.
Yeah.
What I really love about this movie, I think fundamentally, is that it like takes a premise and like the crime drama premise and flips it on its head, where it's all about the wives of these like criminals having to like pay for the sins of their husbands and also literally pay back the debt that they have left behind. You know, again, we've said earlier, directed by Steve McQueen, who you know, at this point he was coming off of, we look at the like chronology here. Yeah, this was his first movie post 12 Years a Slave, so it was like 5 years later.
Yeah.
His first movie, Hunger, and then Shame, 12 Years a Slave, Widows, and Blitz. He also made the anthology Small Axe series, which we both liked.
I know he made that one documentary that came out that was really long, that was like
Uprising?
People talking about Amsterdam, and it was, and then it ended up being like modern footage of the city. Yeah, and it sounded really interesting, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah. His movie Blitz was about the Blitz, obviously. So there was a time also where he was really big, as far as in the film culture. And I think that like speaks to maybe both me and Levi's, like, we loved this movie when it came out, but one thing I think we would agree that we kind of really like about it or respond to it now is that it already feels like this period of, that it was a long time ago, in terms of the 2010s like crime drama. That it just seems like it's passed us by for some time now, and you know, we just don't, you know, again, I think a lot of it added to this movie became, by virtue of its cast, an instant prestige movie. Alluding to what Levi was saying earlier, I think the plot is a little overstuffed. This is one of the rare things where I think oftentimes me and Levi are like see miniseries or TV shows, and we're like, you know, they used to just be able to tell all that in a movie. Like, why are we stretching this out to the point of watering it down for so many episodes? This feels like the rare thing I would have maybe liked to have seen as a 3-episode miniseries, like something that was just a little longer. But I like that it's like it has so many interesting plot points and characters and ideas that it's just like, let's just throw all this out there. Because, you know, first and foremost, the A-plot is like Viola Davis, Elizabeth Debicki, and Michelle Rodriguez's characters like trying to like get together and like, you know, figure out how they're going to pay this money back while also dealing with their own grief that they're in various stages of agony about. The Viola Davis character is like, and this is kind of slowly revealed across the course of the movie, is like her and Liam Neeson, who plays her husband, they had a son who died in a shooting by a police officer in like some years before. and are
like
dealing
2008 specifically.
Yeah, and
now I wonder if that's a statement on Barack Obama in its own way. Too.
Well, I mean,
random,
there's an Obama
day,
poster behind that.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, this movie is like I don't think. Well, this movie is most directly about race when it's talking about politics and there's a whole political angle with Colin Farrell and Brian Tyree Henry running in this special election. But even in the interpersonal relationship that is revealed over the course of time between Viola Davis and Liam Neeson's character, that there's this weird feeling of guilt that they both feel about their son's death.
Right.
That, Viola Davis, kind of holds against after, let's go ahead and spoil this.
Yeah.
Eventually it's revealed that Liam Neeson actually is not dead and that he's still alive, which I remember when I first saw the movie, I was totally shocked by it. I was like, oh wow, I didn't think that was going to happen. But then you're like, it's like Liam Neeson's, he's like a pretty big star, so on average, of course, they're going to do more with him than just
because the only
play
other husband character that is even anything of a more known actor is John Bernthal, Elizabeth Debicki's husband.
Yeah.
So,
so it's, and that he's actually with Carrie Coon, who is the wife of the other husband, another husband that's in the group.
Yeah.
And that actually they're having an affair
and have a child.
Yeah. And that and their final confrontation between Neeson and Davis that is brings up that that why didn't you just stay with the white woman or a white woman?
I couldn't save him, Ronnie.
Yeah.
So he had to save me.
And then
such a weird line reading.
He's like, I need that money, Ronnie.
I need that money, Ronnie. Yeah. But that he basically implying he wanted a white family, and that's an interesting, really weird kind of wait, what? Is it? Yeah.
And I think of a subtler way to tackle race than even.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessarily criticism, but the stuff between Colin Farrell and Brian Tyree Henry, while incredibly watchable, is not the least bit subtle in terms of what it's trying to communicate about politics and about black people actually rising up and getting in a position where they can actually control their own neighborhoods for the first time, and how resentful Colin Farrell and his father, Robert Duvall's character,
and that has to come through drugs and the tragedy of that, and then but there's bigger crooks as the Robert Duvall and Colin Farrell's bigger crooks as they are
and it's really just they're both they're both breaking the law and not doing morally, ethically reasonable things, but it's who do you trust more, or who do you like more? And so, that's, the big thrust of a lot. And then, also, just to go through some of the other women. Yeah. Michelle Rodriguez's character, she's a mother who is dealing with her business being basically ripped away from her. And so that's her motivation into, she needs more money so she can...
Love that scene of the guy that's the repo guy.
Who could easily have been a Safdie Brothers character.
Right, and he's like, I'm just collecting a debt here, ma'am. And he's like... And she says something like, my husband's dead. And he's like, condolences. And he's just taking the money.
Michelle Rodriguez is actually very underrated, one of the great angry actresses of modern times. She's just so great at being angry and just spewing venom, and just has had this particular voice that's just what did you think about that whole scene of her going to the guy's house? That
might be my favorite scene in the movie. I think it's so weird.
It is very weird.
It's that. It's okay. So to explain, it's the scene where they're trying to figure out. They find this place that they can rob, and there's a that her husband, that Liam Neeson left behind, which it turns out he left behind on purpose so that she could.
I think it's a little bit of a twist too. That it's going to end up being Colin Farrell's
house,
home,
right, where they're going to rob, and so it's like a floor plan, blueprint. But he left it specifically so they could go rob it, and he could take them. That's very convoluted, but she's trying to figure out where it is because it doesn't say where it is. So she goes to this person's house that's supposed to be a draftsman or whatever. And
used to work at the company that designed it.
But the woman who designed it died, and she's there, and she talks to the husband. He's like, she's like, I'm trying to find your wife, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you need to go. And it turns out she died 6 months ago or whatever.
Yeah.
And so then she's like, oh, my husband just died too. And then it's this weird moment of like people sharing grief, and it's like you can tell how aggrieved the man is that she's died.
Yeah,
and it's like really sad, and they kind of like start kissing, and then she's like, "Oh, I have to go." And it's just so weird and uncomfortable. I wish there were more moments like that in movies now, because that feels so like
I remember
apart.
This was like a few months ago, maybe a year ago. I randomly saw a still from that scene.
Yeah,
and it was so random. It just like dropped out of nowhere. Somebody tweeted and said something like, "This scene was so unbearable," or something like that. And I remember thinking, that was the first time I really actually thought about the scene. I was like, that was a very weird scene. But like you said, the movies, like so many movies are like, they're engineered to the point it's like, this must move plot forward.
Right.
Everything is engineered to a T, and we don't just let moments breathe.
Yeah.
And just exist. Because guess what? That's actually what most real life is these awkward moments between people and moments that breathe.
Yeah, you know, you're trying to go rob somebody's house. And no, but I know what you mean. Yeah,
but just like the awkwardness of these two people who are grieving. And I like you said, I like that it was just like, we're going to leave that in and just let this breathe and be weird and just be what it is.
And yeah, and I mean, it like, what I just love movies that, or moments in movies that are willing to do that and make people uncomfortable. Like the fact that somebody said that, "Oh, this is just unbearable," proves that it needed to happen. And it's like, it's just like, yep, we need to have that.
So
like,
probably my favorite strain of the movie, other than, and I feel like it's kind of immune. Of course, this is the number one. The Colin Farrell, Robert Duvall scenes together. That's just kind of a whole other thing that we can talk about in a little bit. My favorite actual really plot thread of the movie is the Elizabeth Debicki stuff.
Yeah.
Another thing too is like
the
Viola
mother
Davis
literally looks like a munchkin. It's like a
but like
regular
it
size
is. Go back to
person.
Viola Davis for a second. It's like she just like, oh, by the way, like so we're doing this. Like you'll figure out. You will get the car. You will get the guns. Right.
And you'll figure it out.
Yeah,
it's very like,
so like
what?
It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
like,
it's like, and then Michelle Rodriguez has to go do that, and it don't even lead to anything. And it's like,
But then, so Elizabeth Debicki's character, she's like expected to go and get like guns and a car, and she proves to be like I think she surprises herself, unexpectedly capable of doing these things, and she uses her charm and her sex appeal in part to get those things. And then like the whole scene, remember, where she's like not sure what gun to get, and she's like looking around, and she goes up to the random woman, and she's like throws on this accent,
Russian accent,
Russian accent, where she's like, oh my, like I need 2 guns in the house, like you know,
or she needs 3 or
4, a gun for each room.
Yeah,
or
she's got a gun for each room. Yeah.
And then the daughter of the woman's like, Mom, like you always said, a gun's the girl's best friend, or something like
and
that.
She's like, yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I do say.
I think
that.
she wanted her to buy him that way. Her name wasn't attached to him.
That
or
was
whatever.
what it was.
Yeah, it was like so that
so
which
that it won't get
gun
tricked.
shows are so crazy anyway. I know this is like going on a digression, but just the fact that you can just walk in and just buy guns place is just crazy. I mean, that's very America.
Yeah.
You know? No, because she literally, there's that part like, where am I going to get a gun? It's America.
Yeah.
Like
you tell like
America. Like,
Steve McQueen in that moment is like just nodding like, oh yes, like. But then also like. There's this another subplot that did not need to be in the movie, but I think it does a lot for the movie. Is her and Dane DeHaan?
Lucas Haas.
Not Dane DeHaan. Excuse me, Lucas Haas. Sorry,
Dane DeHaan would be interesting.
No, but Lucas Haas, star of Mars Attacks, among many other things.
Part of the Pussy Posse.
Yeah, part of. I mean, that's his most iconic membership.
And he was in Inception. Can't forget.
Yes.
I can't speak for Kobo Engineering.
Yeah, he's one of Leo's best friends, apparently.
Yeah.
That he's in this, and that he's like this, you know, like this successful-ish businessman. It's kind of vague about what exactly he does, but he's seeing her, and like she's as an escort, and they kind of have a thing for a little while. And again, does not really need to be in the movie, but I think it builds up that Debicki character a little bit and makes her more dynamic. What were your thoughts on those scenes in the movie?
Yeah, I think that's actually really what the movie's about in a more fundamental way, about how women, I feel like that like Little Women meme, but how women, even her mother's like, well, you need to do this because that's what you are, basically, and you'll make money and just get over it, you know.
Yeah.
And she kind of tries to do that, and then like Lucas Haas is like, still a way better version of that type of person than like could be.
Sure.
But,
Well, especially even John
like,
Barenthal, he was
right.
abusing her.
Yeah. And there's this great little moment in the movie, and I mentioned it, Mom and Dad, when we watched it. Because I watched both of these with them, and like as I was telling you off air, they randomly preferred this to Point Blank because Point Blank was like, what is this? But there's that moment where he kind of like touches her, either her side of her face or the back of her neck, and she kind of like moves. That's just such a little moment that's like not giving any like dialogue, but is like, you know, Steve McQueen saying, "Hey, remember this?" and like, you know, this was happening to her. And great little character moment. Of her, like, you know, PTSD over that.
Yeah.
And that ultimately, though, it's about the fact that she's saying, well, I need to use this man to get this information. Or she, at first, that's not why she's doing it. But then once Michelle Rodriguez craps out on her part of it, she has to then go and be like, okay, well, I'm going to figure that out. And he somehow finds some way to, like, figure out who it is. I don't know. It's kind of just he knows people or something. Yeah. And that once that's done, she's kind of like, I don't really need this. Like, I can kind of just do all this myself. I think it's also notable she's the person that takes a bullet out of the group, too.
Yeah.
She's really who the movie's really about in a big way, I think.
Well, her and Viola Davis's characters, like, clash a lot early on. And have that scene where she's like, you will not disrespect me, or whatever. And, like, basically just slaps her or whatever. Right. And I feel like Viola Davis's character is like, oh, okay, you have something in you that I didn't see before, so okay, I'm content with that.
Yeah, and like obviously Viola Davis's whole part of the movie is about grief and the way that she's treated people, because that's what the ending of the movie is. You know, when they see each other, and she goes out and says hello, is her being able to let go of her grief, obviously.
Yeah.
And so that is a big component of the movie, is Viola Davis's stuff too. I do feel like Michelle Rodriguez's stuff is given a little short shrift as far as like her character.
This should maybe be a chance to mention Cynthia Erivo, which I think is the most like, oh, we need another little thing, let's throw that in, because that's the most thing that kind of most makes me scratch my head. So Cynthia Erivo is like basically hustling around different jobs, and one of her jobs, which I totally imagine exists, like is like a babysitter for and so that's how she comes into the story, is basically she's a babysitter for Michelle Rodriguez's character while she's going and doing some of this stuff, and then she gets roped into like, oh, you know this or that, can you help
needs to be a driver,
you know. And then she's like, part of the irony is like she's leaving her own child behind with her own mother, I think, right?
Grandmother or children.
To like watch her kid so she can go watch someone else's kid to make a little bit of extra money, which is that.
Right.
I think this was the first time Cynthia Erivo was like kind of in something that was more well known.
Yeah, and then notably she was in The Outsider TV show, which literally was like a just pre-COVID thing that kind of disappeared and nobody talks about anymore, but was that like Stephen King, Richard Price show, which we watched and quite liked. But kind of, I think I looked officially, that's not going to get made into another season for a while.
I'm content with that. I mean,
that show's pretty funny. There's certain things about that.
But so she's comedic. Just this other dimension I love too, that she just like Michelle Rodriguez is like, oh yeah, we got a driver, and then totally brings this woman in that like Viola Davis has no clue or connection to who she is. She's like, what is this? And then she's
like, you can talk to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then
what do you take her place in the story?
Well, also she kind of does the like Robin Hood thing where she like gives the money to that. She works as a hairdresser too. She gives the money to her boss because there's that great scene where basically they're like getting these collections from like the Colin Farrell character. They're having to like basically he's doing that whole like MWOW, which is hilarious by the way. It's like MWOW the way he talks in it. That like
mother effort goodbye.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. But yeah, but anyway, that you basically find out that the women he set up to say, I've given all these women of color these jobs, and it's like, well, actually, what he's doing is like giving them these loans and then making them pay back all this like exorbitant amount of money or whatever. But yeah, the guy that's going to collect is there, and the woman's like, "Did you not hear me? Mother effort goodbye." Like puts the money back at him. And so yeah, that's kind of her place in the movie, is to just be this kind of like more pure soul of a person. And in its own way, I think what it's talking about is somebody who's outside the group who is like a hustler mother who's like, you know, trying to go between all these jobs, and that she's kind of a salt of the earth type more than these other people were.
It's also another angle on the corruption of the Farrell character.
So I don't. I feel like her character's like, I don't want to say he's a one-note character.
It's utilitarian in terms of what it's trying to move the story forward. Yeah, but I do think it is an interesting irony about that she's leaving her own child and forcing that on her own mother so she can then go and make extra money for herself. You know, I think that's a commentary on a lot of things in America right now. I guess let's just talk about the Brian Tyree Henry versus Colin Farrell-ness of this movie. They both are competing for this seat, which has traditionally been held by this like political dynasty, basically, that Robert Duvall's character
Dynasty.
Dynasty.
A political dynasty. Video nasty.
Also, like, you know, I think what this movie does well is just like creates these really specific, memorable characters, none of which is more memorable to me than Daniel Kaluuya as basically Brian Tyree Henry's like chief lieutenant who he's like learning languages.
He's learning Spanish.
He's learning
and then
Spanish.
He's like listening to an audiobook about like Black Panthers or whatever. Like
which he later played Huey Newton in a movie. And then also, like, what's that book? I always want to know, what's that book he's reading in the gym when he, like, kills those two guys?
When those guys, he's like, no, I want to hear you rap.
Yeah.
And he's, like, nodding along, like, yeah, and then kills them both,
But just such a great minute. These lights were downstairs and just, like, flashing, like, a party or something's going on down here. He's just this, like, total breath of fresh air. Like, you want to know more about that character, but part of the magic of it is that it just, like, gives it to you.
He's the Boba Fett of Widows.
He actually is.
He's
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
because like, we don't need to see the saga of... Or the book of whatever his character's name is.
The book of Boba Fett, what is his name in this?
His name is... I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Jatami? Jateem.
Jatam, probably.
Jatam Manning.
What, is he his brother?
Yeah.
I didn't know he was his brother.
I thought he was like his cousin or something. I don't know if maybe I might have said that. But yeah.
Anyway, but there's that. Well, what's really great about the climax of the movie, you know, the whole movie that he's following them around.
Yeah.
And then he just like swoops in there at the end, and of course it doesn't work out for him. But that's a great death, by the way.
Yeah. This was also for Brian Tyree Henry.
And he's like, yeah, get him. Yeah, like on them like debating on the radio. Like, it's like,
I forgot about that,
Yeah, get him, John, basically.
Brian Tyree Henry's character, this was right as like Atlanta was on TV, so he was obviously an up-and-coming actor.
I think he's really good in this.
He is.
I really buy everything
scene too
about
with him and the pastor of that, the black pastor,
who's
of that
literally
church.
Kevin Hart, basically. Because he's short and he's like,
and that whole idea of like having to negotiate with like your own community for yourself to be seen. We can't avoid it anymore. We got to talk about Robert Duvall in this movie. This might be his last big... I remember even in the moment...
He's been in movies since this, but...
I remember in the moment going like, the big blow-up scene we played last week between him...
This is the final stand of Boo Radley.
Yeah, that's what... that's literally what it is. But I remember thinking even at the time, like, this is his last big...
blow
scene
up
of his career, probably, in his life.
Like Walk in the Woods has nothing on this. Or what was that movie called?
I know
movie with Nick Nolte or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was the Judge. I think was before this, but I always think of The Judge just as a movie. Like, okay, sure,
whatever.
Anyways, like that scene is just the heart of. Even those two characters are not on the same page. You would think, well, it's a father son. These two white guys relationship, but of course they even have different versions. And don't you like just roll your eyes and want to laugh at like Colin Farrell being like, I don't want to have to like look at men like you again. It's like you are perpetuating a new version, because a new coat of paint on these racist systems.
Because you won't be here anymore.
But it just...
but he's got MWOW, though.
Oh, that's...
Can I get an MWOW?
And then there's that one reporter, you know.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, so like, but like, yeah. And he's like, That's that famous scene where the camera's on the car.
Yeah.
And then he just goes off.
And him and his assistant in the car, and you can't see
Yeah.
him. But then, like, you can literally tell, like, the neighborhood that they're in,
Yeah.
how run down it is, and then, like, where he goes and drops off, and how
Right.
literally you see the city change
Yeah.
and become this other thing within a block or two of each other.
But there's that great moment in their scene between each other, him and Robert Duvall, where he's like, I have to turn around and find S everywhere I look. Like, but yeah, and he's like, my son.
Yeah.
Like, you know. Yeah, and then it's funny because he basically puts up with all that, and he's like, anyway, so you're going to do this, right? And he's like,
I love he says, always like, you finished? Like,
yeah. And then he's like, we'll have this. I'll find another time to continue this conversation.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah,
not really, as it turns out. Not really, as it turns out.
They didn't have a moment. Yeah. And that's what's the kind of comedy of the kind of epilogue, is explaining that Colin Farrell wins as a sympathy vote for his death or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, who would care about that?
Yeah.
Like, but anyway.
There's also, we can't forget, Garrett Dillahunt.
Yeah.
Has a small role in
the
this.
driver.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about Kevin O'Connor either. We're going to get to that.
Yeah, well, also, like, there's that one, to me, pretty memorable scene when Daniel Kaluuya comes to Garrett Dillahunt's apartment and is, like, shaking him down to, like, figure out, like, you know, what he knows or doesn't know. And it's like...
Got that Super Bowl ring on.
By the way, though, like, you notice, like, Garrett Dillahunt, like, he's, like, watching old cartoons on his TV before they come in the door. Like, it's some old, like, 30s, 40s era cartoons.
Yeah.
And then, like, he comes in and he turns it to sports or something and turns the volume, like, way up as they're beating him.
It's like basketball, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kill him, I guess, because it implies.
Well, yeah, because they give it...
because you have 1 week.
He sends the
hangs up the
ring.
phone.
Yeah, he's got a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah. But he's got, like, an 85 Bears ring, and he's like, yeah, I got it from somebody. Like, who's just giving around?
Well, he said that the Liam Neeson character gave it to him as a gift.
Oh,
He says that.
I forgot
yeah.
that. So then she gets it back.
Yeah, there you go.
I wonder whose it is. Is it Ron Rivera's? That's what I want to know. Like,
we need to ask.
Is it Riverboat Ron's Super Bowl
I
ring?
could see, like, you being in a Q&A for a new Steve McQueen movie and, like, asking that question and him, like, not even really remembering that detail because he's British too, because he's like, so he's going to care more about his, arguably more of a genuine reason to call it football.
Well, I could see him
soccer.
also not being a sports
but,
fan at all.
well, true.
Yeah.
But also, I'm just thinking,
right.
I can see him being like, I don't know what you're talking about, mate. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about, mate.
Just
it's like, it's your movie.
But just like getting all of a sudden real mad. I can just see that happening with him. But anyways, Kevin J. O'Connor, like, literally a scene or two.
He has 2 scenes. Actually 3.
As Bobby Welsh.
He has 3 scenes.
A disabled bowling alley worker who is formerly involved with Harry.
Don't you feel like it's random that there's all these movies have to have the, like, disabled guy in the wheelchair?
You saying he's a DEI hire? Is that what you're saying?
No. I mean, like, these heist movies have to have that guy who's like, he's the smart guy.
Yeah.
But he's out of the game.
But he's running a bowling alley.
Right. Yeah, well, but specifically, you had Tom Noonan in Heat. Was that. And then you had even, like, Lester in GTA 5.
Sure.
His version of that.
Which is kind of a ripoff of
Heat.
Tom Noonan.
Right. And Tom Noonan's like one scene. But, by the way, what is up with John Voight in Heat? I know we already talked about that movie, but wow. What a weird... He's like, so long, brother. And, like, looking like that, and he's dressed in that suit. It's just so ridiculous. Like, the hair... Anyway.
Yeah.
See, we got around to talking about Deliverance without even knowing about it. Talking about John Voight. John Voight in Seinfeld, no notes. Totally awesome whole concept. Love that.
Great way
Hilarious.
to portray himself, yeah.
Yeah. Don't you think that's crazy, by the way, in that moment? He's like, his go-to is to grab his arm and bite it.
And that world, like, maybe that's John Voight's real life instinct. I don't know.
Yeah, he was just like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, anyway. Where does that come from, by the way? That whole idea of John Voight's car, John Voight's pencil. Like, there's something there.
Yeah.
Like, there's something going on about a real story of somebody who bought somebody's car and it was somebody else's. Like,
and then, like, looking at
I went to dental school with
an
him.
item that they, like, mangled or in some way. And it's like,
like the Peter Mayhew ham sandwich.
Or peanut butter.
Or peanut butter and jelly sandwich, yeah. Anyway, who are we talking about? Oh, Kevin O'Connor. Who got lit up in The Master, by the way. He was not in the movie after that scene in The Master.
Oh, right.
You know?
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, I think it's a very like darkly comedic scene where Kaluuya comes in there and stabs him in the legs, and he like can't feel it because he's paralyzed, and it's like he's like stabbing him and he don't feel it, and then he stabs him in the arm and he's like, oh, like, you know, he does his little like Benny sounds. But yeah,
I'm just going to run through a few. I know we've talked about Kevin J. O'Connor before, who is in The Immune. Of course, we did that for The Mummy.
He's The Immune.
He's in The Immune.
Piggy.
So in 2007, he was in 3 films. I know you can guess one of them.
I'm sorry, what year is he?
2007, Kevin J. O'Connor was in 3 films. I know you can guess one of them. 2007.
Oh gosh, hang on. I've seen it.
You're missing the forest for the trees here.
Hang on. There Will Be Blood.
Of course.
Yeah, duh. I'm sorry.
He's also in a movie called Seraphim Falls and Flight of the Living Dead, Outbreak on a Plane. I can't believe we've never thought of Flight of the Living Dead. That's
pretty good.
Yeah.
But to have zombies on a plane too. That's because you had snakes on a plane. Yeah, because you had all those like snakes on a plane-esque movies around the time. I didn't never think about that.
He was also in G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra as Dr. Mindbender as a cameo.
Wow.
And then no work for 3 years until, I don't know, The Master. Okay, sure. 2016, The Cleanse.
What?
Widows, of course, this year.
Yeah.
And then in 2019, Buck Run, which does not have a Wikipedia page.
As John Yoler?
Yeah. Coal Whale and Captive State. And then Exorcism at 60,000 feet. He loves his horror on a plane movies, apparently. And then Wish Upon a Unicorn.
Can you imagine him in a zombie movie getting bit by a zombie? He's like, and like doing all his little like.
Yeah. Said he was on the Catch-22 TV show. Which
the George Clooney
one? Yeah, which I blinked and it came out in 2019. It's already 6 years ago. That's just crazy. I remember when that was talked about. Like, it seemed like just yesterday. Any other Widows thoughts?
Well, we kind of talked about like what is the message of this movie. I guess we kind of talked about that.
I think it's the message. Yeah, the flipping the premise on its head, like making the women more of the center of this crime story, crime movie, and about their like, you know, they're like, and I don't mean this dismissively, like them girl bossing their way to solving the sins of their husband. You know, reclaiming kind of their own identities along the way.
Yeah, and I think, and then it's obviously about race in Chicago, and about, you know, politics, and it's the movie that's made for us as far as like that type
checks
of
a lot of boxes
idea.
Yeah,
and we talked about it's kind of overstuffed. It could have been let, but I think it works.
Oh yeah, no, I would rather a movie do this than like not give you enough to talk about.
Right.
And again, the cast of this movie is just incredible. It really does a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah, because you think you're going to get cheated on the Liam Neeson, and then you're like, oh good, I need that money right.
Yeah,
but
and then before that, Colin Farrell telling him,
I want that money.
Yeah.
Sped up at 1.5 speed.
Which is kind of for us canonically where it exists.
Last thing I want to mention.
Yeah.
This is a random thing, but I just thought of before we preview our next episode. Do you remember that part at the end when like Elizabeth Debicki goes into the restaurant and, you know, Viola Davis is there and they kind of see each other and they act like they don't see each other? And there's that other woman that Elizabeth Debicki's meeting to eat.
Yes.
And she looks over and sees Viola Davis sitting there. And the woman's like, are you listening? And she's like, yeah. And the woman's like, anyway. So, and like keeps talking. And it's just real random. It's like, who is this person? Like, it's just like a random thing where she's like aggravated that she's not paying attention. It's like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, it's, you know.
Are you a widow?
Like, F me and F you. F him. I said F me. That don't make any sense. F him and F you and F the effing horse you rode in on. You effing asshole. What a effing asshole you are. No. Anyway.
Such a good movie.
Yep.
As was Point Blank as
His
well.
death is hilarious, by the way, where he just like comes out there. And is
Oh,
like,
yeah. Oh, this is one other thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
I just
we didn't talk about the actual heist at all.
I think, don't you think that the movie kind of thinks of that as an afterthought?
Yeah.
I feel like
definitely.
even I do too with it. It's honestly, it's like, it gets to like, it's like the movie's measuring its own watch.
Yeah.
And it's like an hour, 45 minutes in. It's like, oh crap, we got to do that real quick. And I kind of feel, I don't care though, because I don't.
Yeah.
Because everything else is so interesting that it's like, okay.
Because then that's kind of going on with all the like, election stuff. Excuse me. That they're having the debate. Yeah, and all that's happening, and then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, like we got to do this real quick, and they have the like voice modulator things. That's because there's that one scene that's funny. That's like honestly, technically, Michelle Rodriguez's biggest contribution to the heist is the voice modulator thing, because her daughter has one of her daughters has one, and because there's that part where the daughter talks into it, and I still to this day can't understand what she says. And she's like, I know.
Yeah.
It's so creepy and weird. But then they use those in the heist.
Yeah.
Because there's that great moment. It's like one of my favorite images in the movie where that Robert Duvall's like live-in woman, whatever, walks out and sees her, and Viola Davis is pointing the gun, and she's like breathing real hard, and she's got the like mask on, and it's doing that weird like thing that's so just like such a scary image. It's just like, wow, like it's weird. But yeah, that's randomly
M-wow.
Yeah. Can I get an M-wow? And everybody's like, no one cares. Just like, that's almost
everybody knows
on the
what
level of
facade it is.
Yeah, that's almost on the level of the Eddington, like Paula's restaurant, like a predator. Like
Mexican and Greek
food or whatever. Like it's like they don't even know what they are. It's like the Dream Cafe come to life. It's like welcome to the Dream Cafe. Babu. Yeah, come. Like you're a very, very bad man, Jerry Seinfeld. I love that guy when he shows up in anything. Wasn't he in like one of the Austin Powers movies?
Yes,
he was like in.
He
like Shag Me, maybe, or
he was. I think was he like one of the guys that like Dr. Evil kills? Like he's like sitting in the chair and he like kills them off.
No, I think he was a guy that was in one of the scenes where he's talking about how much money he wants.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
he's like talking to the UN or like whatever,
and he's like, I want $1 million or whatever. Yeah, and it's like, I think that's one of the funny. All right, and then we'll stop after this. One of the funniest things about the Austin Powers movies randomly is in the first movie when he asked for $1 million, and they're all like laughing at him because of the inflation. And he's like $1 billion, and they're like, oh. And then in the second one, it's like back in time, and he's like $1 billion, and they're like, "What? Are you crazy? Nobody has that much money." And
Tim Robbins as the president,
right? Which is basically a JFK-esque looking figure. And then he's like, "No, $1 million," and then they're all like, "Oh,
yeah."
Like the comedy of like $1 billion. They're like, "Oh, ha ha! You could give somebody $1 billion back then." By the way,
I got nuke sect the yin yang. Just let me get it. And then there's like, "Sir, you suggesting we blow up the moon?" He's like, "Would you miss it? Would you miss it?" Randomly underrated comedy performance, like Tim Robbins in that movie. I think, anyways.
I really love one of my favorite montages in movies is in the first movie with oh Lord, the guy that's like, it'd be funny chewing no corn on the cob, no F&T. That guy and he was in Silence of the Lambs. I can't remember that guy's name. Anyway, he's a general. And it's like him and Clint Howard are talking, and he's like, "Get my luggage. Feed my fish." And it's like the scene, the like screen breaks up, and there's always like different things. I think about that a random amount. Not too much. Yeah, like
that's gonna do it for.
Oh, it's oh god, I just had it. Charles Napier.
Oh, okay.
Is that guy's name? Because I can't leave that out. He's great.
So now we got
no F&T.
Now we got Charles Napier credited. That's gonna do it for this episode of Ticket Stubs. But before we go, Jeff Probst, what have we got next time?
Stay tuned for scenes from our next episode.
Please, come forward. May I have the password, please?
Fidelio.
That's right, sir. That is the password for admittance. But may I ask, what is the password for the house?
The password for the house.
Yes?
I'm sorry, I seem to have forgotten it.
That's unfortunate. Because here, it doesn't matter whether you have forgotten it, or if you never knew it. You will kindly remove your mask.
FBI! Come out of the bathroom! Step out of the bathroom! Hands on your head.
Oh, that's the new IBM Selectric.
Put your hands on your
Change
head.
the print type in 5 seconds.
Shut up!
Pop out the ball.
Put your hands on your head! Put your hands!
You know, he's got over 200 checks here.
Hands
of Indian
on your head!
Drafting. He even has little payroll envelopes
Put it down.
addressed to himself. From
Put it down! Drop it!
Relax! You're late, all right? My name's Alan, Barry Allen, United States Secret Service. Your boy just tried to jump out the window. My partner has him in custody.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What, you think the FBI are the only ones on this guy? I mean, come on. Come on, he's dabbling in government checks here. I've been following a paper trail on this guy for months now. Hey, you mind taking that gun out of my face? Please, really. I mean, it makes me nervous.
We see some credentials.
Yeah, sure. Take my whole wallet. You want my gun, too? Come over here, take my gun. Hey, look, just do me a favor. Take a look outside. Look out the window. My partner's walking him to the car as we speak. Look. Old guy almost pissed in his pants when I came through the door. He jumped right through the window onto the hood of my car. Hey, Murph. Yeah, call the LAPD again. I don't want people walking through my crime scene.
I didn't expect the Secret Service on this.
Don't worry about it. Well, what's your name?
Hanratty. Carl Hanratty.
Mind if I see some identification? Sure. You know, you never can be too careful these days. Well, tough luck, Carl. 5 minutes earlier, you would have landed yourself a pretty good collar.
It's all right. 10 seconds later, and you'd have been shot. Mind if I come downstairs with you? I gotta take a look at this guy.
Sure thing. Just do me a favor and sit tight for a second while I get this evidence downstairs. You know, I don't want some maid walking through here and making the bed. LAPD should be here any sec.
Wait. Your wallet.
You hang on to it for a minute. I trust you.
Oh. Oh. Yeah. Secret Service.
So two very different movies there.
Both comedies.
One more explicitly.
Yeah.
And that is 1999 Eyes Wide Shut, directed by you can't throw enough adjectives on his name, Stanley Kubrick. And Catch Me If You Can from, the other guy you can't throw enough adjectives on his name, Steven Spielberg, in 2002. You might be wondering, why the hell are you pairing these two?
Was it 2002 or 2003?
2002.
Oh, it says 2003 there. I don't know.
I believe it's 2.
Oh.
Yeah, I said it earlier. I think 2002.
Oh.
So the idea behind this pairing was that they're both not exactly, but set during Christmas movies, because obviously we're getting ready to enter the Christmas season. We'll talk a little bit about Eyes Wide Shut first. So, of course, Stanley Kubrick's final film. This movie, I think it came out like in the summer of 1999.
It was like July.
Yeah. And
proves it's not a Christmas movie.
So a lot of people like to get cute. All of a sudden, it's like Kubrick's with us in this room right now. The lights got red. This is like categorized by a lot of people as like, oh, it's like Die Hard's a Christmas movie. Eyes Wide Shut's actually a Christmas movie. Batman Returns is actually a Christmas movie. Did
you know that Santa Claus the movie is a Christmas movie?
I had my suspicions. I'll be honest.
I mean, you've seen it?
Yeah. I've seen Santa Claus, Santa Claus 2, The Escape Clause. Oh, by the way, that reminds me, I might have mentioned this on the podcast before. I had a teacher years ago who I like quite a bit. She's actually one of your coworkers now, Miss Key.
Yeah.
Who got mad at us, was like, you all think you spell it claws because those movies have an E at the end. It's like, that's not how you spell it. And I just remember that in my head being very memorable. So, okay.
And you're like, and she's like, I invented Shield. And you're like, you probably did, actually.
But, I mean, she's correct about that.
Yes.
But anyways, I liked her a lot. So I just thought that was funny. I'll always remember that now because of that. But sometimes telling you that, sometimes when teachers get mad about things, you remember them. But anyways, Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman, they were married at the time.
Sidney Pollack.
Sidney Pollack was not with them, but he was there. That role was originally Harvey Keitel.
Couldn't get over the.
I mean,
whatever. I don't know.
I mean, this movie I think it was kind of confused at release. It was kind of split. It should be said there was 12 years between Full Metal Jacket and this, so there was a long period of time. And also it was he had died in March, I think, of that year. So everybody knew this is it. This is the last Kubrick movie. So it came with all this anticipation. There was all this incredible amount of speculation. The internet was in its earliest forms at that time about what this movie was about. It is, I mean, the guy made 2001: A Space Odyssey and The Shining. So and Doctor Strangelove. So I would say for me, even imagining myself at the time, those already had this massive, prodigious reputation.
Yeah.
And some loved this movie at the time, but I think really over time it has developed its appreciation and fandom as one of his greatest movies. I'd say Barry Lyndon's up there too. What even comes to mind when you think of Eyes Wide Shut, Levi? Where do you even begin?
It's one of those movies that whenever I've showed it to people,
to your 8th graders,
no, of course not.
To people in college, or
yes.
Friends,
well, and
or
I even had friends in high school I showed it to, because I remember I watched this movie for the first time. It probably would have been, early 2015, and I had bought a Blu-ray of it, and it was the first time I'd seen it, and then I watched it with some friends of mine later that year. Or maybe the beginning of the next year from high school. And then I showed it to some friends in college. And it's the type of movie that is, amongst the people I know, one of the most widely beloved movies. It's that for a movie that's like that. Every time I've shown
opposition
it,
to Sorcerer, which is
whatever. But yeah, that with that movie, literally everybody I've ever showed it to is this is one of the best movies I've ever seen, consistently. And I think it's because it's so unapologetically explicit, and I don't mean in the terms of even the explicitness of the nudity, so much as just it's like, well, this is what it is, and it's like, and the idea of it being like a dream, but also that it's just a very mysterious movie, but also very like pointed and aggressive in what it's implying and saying, and interestingly, I mean, it's like based off of Rimbaud, I think. Is that true, or it's some writer?
I can't.
It might not be Rimbaud. It's I'm
gonna look that
I think it's the guy that wrote Vertigo, actually.
Arthur Schnitzler.
Look and see who that is. Maybe not. Maybe I'm totally wrong on this.
I think this book actually comes from the 1920s, a novella.
Yeah, Traum novelle. But anyway, yeah, I'm not really sure. I can't remember. He had what? Anyway, point is that it was based on a book.
Maybe another French writer who did.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. He was Austrian writer, by the way. But Schnitzler was. But.
Yeah. So I had got that mixed up at some point, but a long time ago. But that it is based on something beforehand, but the fact that it's made in the modern day and is about what it's about, and is about sexuality in the 90s, and in its own way, I mean, it's like a lot of his movies is about the voyeur, but in a way that is much more explicit. And it's interesting because he's like the Tom Cruise character. I think this is one of his best performances. Very understated. He never has any sexual activity in the movie other than a little bit with his wife at the beginning. Never actually engages in any of the events at the party. Never doesn't actually even engage in activity with that one woman who it turns out has HIV. That it talks about later in the movie.
But
they kiss. But I'm saying like,
yeah. But like a lot of like maybe Hitchcock movies or Hitchcock characters, he kind of wants to. And
right? Oh
like,
yeah.
And it's about that voyeur, like we're skirting up
yeah,
against it
right.
without actually doing it, which is the whole vicarious nature of film in general. Like we watch these things happen, and we want to sometimes be involved with them, but we have that removed.
And I think what I love about this movie, and we'll talk more about it next time. I don't want to go too much into it, but that it's a movie that's also about like how a lot of questions of like, is this person also this person?
Yeah.
And because people disappear.
Which actually pairs well
and,
with the other movie
right.
we're doing.
And it's like, but then it's also like about, or does he just want that to be? Or like almost like themes in our own life.
Sure.
Being, you know, just the weirdness of that and like, and just the interconnectedness of, and of course, a whole big aspect of this movie is about dreams and about how the whole second half of the movie is almost like everything he went and witnessed is not the way what he remembers it as being, and that it's almost like it was a dream, or like, not that it's even literally a dream. I don't believe that about the movie, but it's saying that about dreams and the way that we perceive reality. Also, the fact the movie was totally shot in England, and it's shot on these streets that are supposed to be New York but clearly aren't, and that's very dreamlike about it. So it's a movie that is, I think, so potent with meaning and is about a lot of things, but also doesn't really have to be about anything in particular. And is just a very,
and like you said, in that way, it's very much a Rorschach test. You get to bring to it what you want to look into it and feel. Because there's even all these conspiracy theories that, like, oh, he was going to be exposing people, high up people for sex crimes and all this stuff, and that he was killed or whatever. And
well, yeah, that didn't make it in the movie. So, well, Arlie Ermy said he wasn't happy with it. So,
even though everybody else, like his closest people in his life, said he was more content with this than he had ever been with something he'd made.
But
before.
Arlie Ermy, though,
but that's the hilarious thing.
Yeah, it's like, why would you talk to him?
I'm going to call up Arlie Ermy and unload about what I really feel. That's just so, but it's so random,
right?
And I don't believe this happened, but it is one of those things that's so random. I'm like, did that maybe happen? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. But.
Yeah, I mean, this is there's a lot to talk about with this movie, which we'll dive into next time. One of the best movies of the 90s. Like you said, was maybe Cruise's best performance. It's up there for Nicole Kidman. It's Kubrick's life. I mean, it's just, there's so many aspects to this movie. I mean, certainly we might even dive in and talk a little bit about, how this movie's taken on new forms in the wake of Jeffrey Epstein and like that whole world being more
with the island.
With the island, like how that has given the movie new relevance in the modern
Well, and
day
another
now.
thing about the movie too, I should say, is that it was a movie that I'd already seen. I think this was no, it wasn't the last Kubrick movie I'd seen, but as far as like his big stuff, really like Doctor Strangelove onward, because I hadn't seen Lolita at that point either. And I still wish I hadn't seen Lolita in my own way. Did you know they made a movie out of Lolita? That was literally
crazy.
No, I mean, like, what I mean is that's the tagline
No,
of
I
the movie.
know. I know,
But it's like, they made a movie out of Lolita. And it's like, yeah.
That is a pretty good tagline, I think, though. It's
Right.
just, in terms of just like, can you believe that
They
this
did this?
exists?
Like, well, it's sitting right here, I guess so. Such a nothing movie. Anyway, that was one of the first movies I'd ever seen, or one of the big movies I had seen that I felt like, I mean, I had seen a lot of adult movies up to that point, but that was a movie that felt like, wow, this is an adult movie. And I don't even mean just in terms of the nudity in the movie or the sexuality, but also just in general, like, this feels like an adult movie.
Sure.
Like, and that I felt like I could more or less understand what the movie was about too, because I was in high school when I saw it, so I mean, I was older. And that felt like a big deal to me. And every passing moment of the movie felt like an atomic bomb blast. It was like, what's going to happen next? What's this? What's that? And which is weird for a movie that's so intentionally opaque. It actually functions on basic aspects of thrillers and the sense of like, just in a different way. But yeah, great movie.
So I don't think the next movie is quite as great, obviously, but I do think it has some very special things about it. Is Catch Me If You Can, which again 2002. Guy by the name of Steven Spielberg made this movie, and I wanted
Little Stevie, Quiet Piggy.
I actually wanted to like pair. I knew they were great friends. I wanted to kind of pair two movies of theirs together. Also, also a movie about mistaken identity. Being accused of things, being on the run. I mean, there's kind of some very vague connections they have. All about Frank Abagnale Jr., who, even to summarize all the cons this guy does in this movie a lot, claims that prior to his 19th birthday, he successfully performed cons worth millions of dollars by posing as a Pan American World Airways pilot, a Georgia doctor, and a Louisiana parish prosecutor, which is in the movie. He all does this when he's apparently like 19, not quite 20 years old. It's all based on his real life. Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks. I actually didn't know this. Said that David Fincher, Gore Verbinski, Lasse Hallstrom, Milos Forman, and Cameron Crowe all circled this movie before Spielberg made it.
Interestingly, out of all those people, I could see Cameron Crowe doing that more than the rest.
Yeah. You have not seen Catch Me If You Can, Levi.
No.
Like, what's your expectations going into this movie? You can.
Well, it's probably like one of the bigger Spielberg movies I haven't seen. And I love Leonardo DiCaprio. Really like Tom Hanks. You notice I didn't say love Tom Hanks. The continual question mark over my feelings of Tom Hanks on this podcast continues. Really like Tom Hanks.
He kind of plays. Well, he's not a bad guy. But he kind of plays the antagonist role in the movie.
Right.
It's a little bit of a different thing to see him in, I will say. But
well, I could tell that just from the scene that you showed me that it seemed a little different. It's one of those movies that it's just a movie I've been meaning to watch for so long.
Yeah.
That it'll be kind of weird to see it.
Yeah.
And because it's like at a weird place in his career as well, of Spielberg.
So he made his movie right after AI.
Right,
yeah.
And before stuff like
Minority
even
Report,
Minority Report and Munich, and
so
yeah, I mean, I'm anticipating it quite a bit. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I'm not expecting it to be like an essential Spielberg as far as other ones are.
So I think to me, this is a movie that I like because there's a subsection of cinephiles who this is like way up there on their Spielberg rankings. I wouldn't quite say that. But this is like, I'd say this is like in the 4.5 star cycle of his movies. And I would say that, like, you know, this is a movie that for more people would be like more like disposable in quotes.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, I show this movie when I talk about like fraud and con stuff with EPF. Every time I show, this is another one of those movies, the students are always like, I was talking about this with Dunkirk, I showed in World History recently, like, that students always lock in. It's a movie that almost none of them have ever seen, so it's like got this novelty to it that you know and I think this is a weird thing to say about it, but I think as Spielberg has gotten older and people have started to really appreciate his later style, and this is not quite as late as other stuff, but how he shoots master shots and how he moves characters in the frame, and in particular, like the cat and mouse game that is in this movie. It was like there's a very charming about 2-minute or less section of this movie where it's like, what if I would have made a James Bond movie? And because he wanted to since the 70s, and it's like frankly criminal that never happened. Like people, I literally like people need to go to jail. Like I'm being serious that never happened. Yeah. Like why? Because they don't want to give him final cut.
Don't you also feel like that maybe is in its own good?
Well, the same could be said of Christopher Nolan too. Right, I know
that he wasn't. That he's above doing that.
Well, that's ultimately the real lesson, is that is the truth. But anyways, this kind of is his version of like a Bond kind of spy story, and he's made Bridge of Spies also. But and one thing I really love about this movie, and I don't want to spoil too much, is just how the relationship between him and his parents, in particular Christopher Walken is his dad, Leonardo DiCaprio's dad in this. Also, Leo at this stage of his career, this came out the same year that Gangs of New York came out. The fact that he's as skilled as an actor as a leading man. He's at this age already leading a Steven Spielberg movie, acting alongside like the likes of Tom Hanks. And he's doing it with this level of skill is incredible, and it only speaks to how his star persona has developed. But anyways, there's a real, for a movie, it's a movie that's actually very light and fun, but actually has a deep sense of sadness about this character, his character that he's been robbed of.
I've seen the Christmas scene at the end when he gets arrested. Yeah, I've seen that quite a bit actually on TV. That's randomly a scene I've seen on TV like multiple times, and I'm like, okay.
And also that scene in particular, I remember reading years ago a little Spielberg Q&A book, or like these extended interviews of him talking about him as a child, like, and this moment is depicted in The Fabelmans. So like, and that's what's so cool about The Fabelmans, is it was like you see all these Easter eggs he's given us for years come together in this textual, literalized way. Yeah. But he talks about when he was a kid and he like would drive by and see all the Christian families like having all the Christmas lights up and everything, and him being like, "Oh, I want to, Mom, Dad, why can't we have Christmas lights?" And they're like, "Well, we're Jewish, like we don't celebrate Christmas. We do Hanukkah. That's different, right?" And he's like, that's a moment when I read that years ago in an interview book, and then had seen that in the movie and being like, in the Catch Me If You Can, that's him literally doing a version of that, like, because that whole character is about this like life and this ideal that he wishes he had but he can't have. He's on the outside, and that's like part of the story is. But then, like, The Fabelmans literally, like, makes that a moment in the movie that's talked about. Anyways, and the movie kind of has a recurring motif that it's like a weird tradition of them calling each other up around Christmas time, him and Tom Hanks' character, and, like, having these, because they're both these lonely men who, like, they don't have real friends outside of what they do, so they, like, weirdly, in a very abstract way, become distant friends, and over Christmas specifically in the movie, it's like a recurring motif. So anyways, not a Christmas movie, but
we forgot to say Eyes Wide Shut takes place around Christmas.
Well,
you did say that. Okay,
I think we said that. But anyways, so Kubrick and Spielberg together, two not exactly Christmas, but kind of sort of take place around Christmas movies, so that's what we're heading into.
Spielberg being Jewish, Kubrick having once told Stephen King, "I don't believe in hell."
He was born Jewish though too, so yeah.
Well,
literally
I was
Jewish.
Just, I was just
saying
that. I was along with that, but yeah, no, I know he was Jewish too. But they're not exactly Christians, obviously in the sense of Christmas, but not that matters. But the point is that it kind of does actually.
There is that famous photo of Kubrick. I'm sure you've seen of like him at Christmas for one of his kids, and he's like got silly string and like tinsel all over himself, like sitting there.
Yeah, he's like sitting there. Yeah,
he's like wearing this like almost like green army jacket. It looks like.
He was a weird guy as far as the way he dressed. Just everything about him was weird. Yeah. But
anyways, this is going to do it for your first / 102nd episode of Ticket Stubs, whatever that falls in this category. I know Levi and I both wish you a very happy Thanksgiving.
Yep. Go listen to our Al Roker takes at the beginning of this episode, as well as in the whatever.
Yeah, whatever thing.
Well, whatever.
At one time, you know.
Yeah.
This is Kyle.
This is Levi.
Take care. God bless.
Oh, I'm talking with Lee Marvin. We were going to examine the most. I mean, the thought of discussing your romantic life didn't keep you awake? That's amazing. You gave a very candid. I'm sorry, I didn't give you a chance to answer there. That's good. You gave a very candid interview one time in Playboy magazine where you talked a great deal about yourself. I wonder, when you look back at a thing like that some years later, have your ideas changed? Are you ever sorry you said any of those things?
Oh, well, I think that you're sorry you say everything almost. Mm-hmm. Because I'm sure that, given a second time through or something, I could probably do it better. Because we'd learn by our experience, but I'm not going to waste time worrying about that either. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say I said it and I'm glad. I say, is it true that you said it? I say, yeah. They say, how do you feel about that now? I said, well, we have to pursue it. And I said it then. I don't have to say it again.
So you don't like to repeat yourself?
I prefer not to.
Interviewing generally kind of irritating, the fact that you do what you do up on the screen and to have to sit and talk for hours on end about yourself for a long interview is irritating?
No, it depends on the interviewer. I think that, I probably talk more about myself when I'm not being interviewed. But in order to maintain that semblance of the true modesty that I do on the screen, when I get interviewed, I become very modest. Oh, is that true? So
that's right. I never thought of that, but you do. When you're interviewed, you think, can't they please get off the subject of me? But then when other subjects are being talked about, one works the subject around to oneself.
Yeah.
I don't do that, but a lot of people do, I know. I'm glad to hear that you do it,
It's been my experience. That's been my experience working with other stars,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You talked in that article about being in the Marines, and you talked about a search for your masculinity. That was a phrase that came up in the article. I would think your masculinity would be quite easy to find from knowing you as I do.
We weren't going to talk about my private life now.
I won't be responsible for the kind of laughter I'm getting from the audience, but and I never am. But what is that about?
Oh, I don't know. I think that all kids go through it, and I was a child when I enlisted, And, my only history really was the motion pictures or what I'd seen as a kid in New York. So I'm going to go up to the, with the sword or whatever it was that, all the famous actors used to wear in those Triple E pictures. The harems of women, and I hope, and, it's just, that's a very silly thing to even think about right now, I guess. Masculinity is what it is.
Yeah. Did you find that in the Marines there were a lot of guys who had gone in because they had some kind of hang-up like that? That's a favorite image of any
this was during the war, and there was a very common effort, see, so the effort was the only thing then. I'm not aware of anything else but that at that time. Now, in peacetime or something, I imagine it's a wholly different discussion. But when we were going down on the train from New York, everybody was just, wanted to be John Wayne, which was exactly what it was all about then.
Yeah. What did they think of John Wayne movies? The guys who were actually in action, the way you were in the Marines during the war. What was your opinion of the war movies that you saw? Like
most of our training was almost doing them, because with a national effort like that, the motion picture companies kind of join in and say, yes, now we can utilize all those free extras out there, the Marine Corps or the Army and the Navy. So they make war films to get the war effort brought to the audience because there wasn't too much TV then, right? So that you were part of it in the training aspect. I mean, they'd say, well, they have a motion picture company coming in tomorrow, be a couple of phony actors in there, trying to get us to be, and then you'd be part of the scene. So
you were part of
your
duty was to be in war movies.
Almost in your training, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't make it far, though. I mean, I didn't get involved in any.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of guys that did.
But did the combat seem real to guys who actually knew what it was like in those movies with John Wayne and all?
Oh, well, combat's a very personal thing. I don't think two people will agree on anything in combat, so I think for the theatrical audience, they were doing the best they could at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wanted to see a newsreel, of true death and destruction, so it's much better to do it theatrically, which is less painful.
Yeah. Do you ever have any... Last time you were here, you had just been in I can't remember if you had just been or were just about to be in The Dirty Dozen, and a lot of people thought that was a movie that glorified violence so that it shouldn't have been shown. Does that criticism irritate you ever?
No, I don't really consider that part of the film much of the film. I thought the whole film was basically the 12 guys and their training and the examination of them. Once we got into the actual effort of making the jump into the palace or whatever it was, I mean, that's just following out the footwork, I think, of why they were trained, why you could enjoy the front part of the film.
Mm-hmm. But you didn't think that the film was a bad influence on
what?
The people who who get their kicks from seeing... well, I'm mixing up two questions here. Do you think a movie can be a bad influence because it has people cheering, say, the gassing of Germans or the murdering of...
I'm sure it can be both ways. It can be a good influence, a bad influence, or an indifferent influence.
Yeah.
But that's not my job, or it wasn't my job at that time to ascertain whether this would be a great influence on not pouring gasoline on German generals.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really concerned about that. I was concerned about working with Jimmy Brown or Johnny Cassavetes or the rest of that marvelous group of actors.
Did you ever get hurt making a film?
Not really. I mean, not enough to where it would be where I could collect any unemployment on it.
Have you been emotionally hurt in the making of the film?
Oh, I'm struck every, right.
Could I ask you where you were wounded during the war?
Yes, I was shot in the ass.
Could...
That's unusual.
I hate a guest who won't be specific. I
wish I could say something else, because I know that when I finally got home, I had written my mother saying that I'd been injured, so don't be disturbed by the telegram. And she wrote me back a letter and said that she had a dream roughly at the same time. There I was standing in the door of her bedroom, in the doorway, and I was in my dress blues and my head was bandaged. And I said, yes, she's my mother. How sweet of her, right?
Bandages were somewhat lower in reality.
Yeah, and I didn't have a set of blues. I mean, I was,
Yeah.
right.
Gee. That's terrific.
So nice. Goodbye.